everyone, and
Yo.
welcome to the stream. Tonight we have this lineup of wonderful people. We're going to have everyone introduce themselves, starting with Austin and working our way down to Tom. So, Austin, start
I'm
us off.
Austin. I'm Austin from D-Roll Coasters.
Ken,
I'm Ken. Just Ken.
just Ken, and Tom.
And I'm Tom, Tom's Tracks 99, where you can find my totally now actually active Instagram page where I do post things.
There you go. So, we're going to start off the stream the same way we've been starting off all the streams recently. We have a few topics we're going to discuss before we get into the Q&A portion. So, if you have questions, send them in the chat. And after we're done going through all of the pre-planned topics, we're going to get to those questions. And as usual, if you send a super chat, we'll jump straight to that. So, let's get right into it, starting off with the demo status at Great Adventure. What's going on there? So, as far as I know, as of right now, Kingda Ka, there hasn't been too much done to it. A lot of the smaller track kind of near the station where, it's mainly just station track and transfer track, a lot of that has started to be removed. As for Green Lantern, they have started ripping apart the lift hill and drop as well as the loop. There's a crane on site that has been doing that work. And El Toro also has a crane nearby, presumably to move the trains, or that could also be for track work. We're not 100% sure. But we're going to get the drone down there at some point in the relatively near future, definitely before Ka's implosion, to check on all of that. Just going to time it perfectly because obviously if you guys live in Jersey or Pennsylvania, you know that the weather's a bit crazy right now. We're in the middle of a big snowstorm, so if you hear some background noise, it's probably plows running down the road. But that's all I really have for the Great Adventure demo status. Now let's get into the fun stuff. Great Adventure's announcement on January 22nd. Everyone was kind of going crazy over this for some reason. So let's take a look at exactly what they showed off on their platforms. This was across all social medias. It just said, ready for some new fun in 2025. We're sharing some exciting details of our upcoming season on January 22nd. Stay tuned for more details. So everyone's been asking me what I think this might be. I don't really think it's anything crazy. It's probably just an announcement of opening day or the events lineup for the year, maybe the calendar as well. But otherwise, I really don't think it's going to be anything crazy. Do you guys have any differing opinions, or do you agree with me?
I honestly think it's just their announcement for like their opening date and maybe a couple of little things, like maybe they have events lined up for the year that they might drop on us when they drop the opening date. But other than that, I really don't expect it to be anything too major either.
I was thinking it was going to be opening day plus, kind of like Austin, but instead I figured it'd be like operating hours for the entire year. Maybe if they're going to announce dates for Fright Fest and if Holiday in the Park's coming back, they'll announce dates for those. But nothing too crazy. I definitely don't think this is ride related at all.
Ken?
I think they have to have more events this year because that's the only thing they have going for them. So I think it's going to be an event-filled year.
I would definitely agree with that. Something else that we're going to talk about a little bit later on is maybe a rebrand of the park, but I want to save that for when we get to that section. So I don't think anything crazy is going to happen. I'll still, release a video if it's anything major, but I wouldn't expect anything too crazy. However, something that is a little crazy are the markers that have been spotted around Mr. Freeze. So I have some pictures here I'm going to pull up for you guys if I can find them. Share screen. That's not it. There we go. So these are in the Texas Thrill Seekers Facebook group. I'm just going to kind of scroll through them here, and you're going to see all kinds of orange markers everywhere. Now, this does not necessarily mean that it's getting removed. This looks kind of weird. It looks like someone just like threw it on their feet and went and walked around. But and there's a lot of different color ones too. There's orange, there's blue, no pink or white though. That I will say, there's none of those. So a lot of people are thinking this could just be repavement because, as we know, Cedar Fair, they're trying to make the parks look very nice. And having asphalt everywhere definitely isn't too nice. I know Cedar Fair doesn't like that very much. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if we might see them repaving this. Over Texas seems to be getting quite a bit of love, which is nice to see. But what do you guys think this might mean for the future of Gotham City and Mr. Freeze?
Honestly, when we saw the markers appear around Ka and Lantern, they originally also started off as orange markers before we saw any white or pink ones show up. So I think anything at this point is really possible, but we just need to keep a close eye on it in case there's any further development of the area. Considering that they have the markers around, I believe it's a show theater, right? Is that like one of the places
I know it's definitely all around Freeze's station, and I think it stretches kind of towards Joker.
Because Batwing has them around them. I don't know what their Batwing ride is. And then isn't there like some kind of amphitheater like involved in this survey debacle too? I think
there might be, because Batwing is right in front of Batman the Ride, and then you walk kind of around the corner, and there's Mr. Freeze.
What kind of ride type is Batwing?
It's just like a little flat ride. I forget which type specifically, but it's nothing huge.
Was that a helicopter ride there?
Actually, I'll pull it up on Google Maps real quick and take a closer look.
Yeah, because to be honest with you, I would not be surprised in the slightest if they removed Freeze, Batwing, and whatever theater.
Oh, I definitely would not.
I would not be surprised, especially with what they've removed so far. I mean, Carowinds lost 2 flat rides and Nighthawk, and
all right, here we go. So Batwing is right here, right next to Mr. Freeze, because you have this like water structure right here that sprays mist. Mr. Freeze is right here, and then launches that way, of course. Then you have Batman right here. I don't know about a show. There's Killer Theater right here, but that's more...
Yes, there's markers around that as well.
Huh.
Okay, so I wouldn't be surprised if, for whatever reason, they just decided to get rid of all that. But at the same time, I really don't think that they're going to get rid of everything there. Mr. Freeze is definitely something I think we need to keep our eye on, though, because there have been rumors floating around about that for a while now.
And it does fit the bill of what Six Flags is trying to get rid of now.
Yeah.
Tom, what do you think?
I would really love to think that maybe you're right, Colin, when you mentioned that it might be new pavement or new asphalt or something to spruce the area up. It definitely felt like that area could have used a little more like infrastructure improvements, things like that. But we know the current trends of the company, and so unfortunately it doesn't look good. But this is kind of like early on in the Ka rumors, and everyone's like, "Oh no, it couldn't be that. They're probably just doing whatever work around the area." But maybe they're going the Great America route, like how they're improving their Batman ride. Maybe we're seeing a rebirth of the Batman area over Texas. But we know the trends, so that's what I'll say on that.
And Ken, correct me if I'm wrong. You haven't ridden the Mr. Freeze coasters, have you?
I have ridden the one at St. Louis.
Okay, so you haven't ridden this one.
No, I have not ridden this one.
Neither have I.
I just need St. Louis.
Austin, did you get on
I
St.
may
Louis?
not ride it. So.
I haven't been any further west than like Illinois, so no.
Oh man. Well, hopefully you guys can get your rides in on a Mr. Freeze, whether it's this one or the one at St. Louis. I will say though, this isn't looking good for the future. And if I had to guess, they're probably just going to get rid of both of them at once. I think it'd be really weird if they got rid of, say, this one and not the one at St. Louis, but you never know.
Well, what if they took the one and gave it the other one spare parts?
That is true.
Kept it alive for like maybe an extra year. I mean, I know that the purpose of removing it is because of the maintenance nightmares and the cost to run it. Like they're very, very expensive rides to operate, but I don't know. Anything's possible at this point, so...
We really don't know. And something else I should mention, I don't have a picture of it ready to go, but Titan, on the other side of the park, is getting a blue and gray paint job that looks very suspicious, like what Great Adventure was supposed to get for Nitro.
Yeah.
Actually, let me see if I can find a picture really quick for you guys, because I know not everyone has Instagram. I believe it's on this account. But the common rumor or thought is that Over Texas took the paint from Great Adventure. I'm not saying it's true, but I mean, look at that. That would really tell me that it's not.
It's a striking resemblance.
Yeah, where's the gray? I didn't see any of the gray. I've only seen.
I don't know if they did the gray yet, but it's gonna happen. It looks good. I don't really think it needed a paint job, but it looks good.
I definitely
look better in Nitro.
Yeah. I personally think that the paint job for Titan is a good thing because they're repainting Goliath the same color scheme. I think it will help them be more distinct now.
That is true. I always thought it was a weird idea to have them both have the same color scheme. I would have liked to see this retain the orange track, though, and maybe change the supports to gray. I think that would have been a pretty cool look, especially for the area the park it's in.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think orange and gray would have been the move instead of blue. But now it makes you wonder, what are they going to paint Nitro if they decide to repaint it?
Will every coaster in the Six Flags chain soon be that blue and gray color scheme? It sure seems that way.
Yeah, they really like that color scheme. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But
let me just point out that if Nitro were to get that paint job with the color change it has, I think it would be a little bit too similar to Orion.
oh, it would look almost identical to Orion.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna go for that on Nitro now.
Well, they did the trains, so they got to do something that relatively matches the trains now and the station.
What if we gave Nitro like a black and gray support paint job like Silver Star? That would be cool.
That would be pretty sweet. Although it would look kind of weird in the woods. I feel like it wouldn't pop very much.
But that also could be a good thing for the night rides.
That is true. That is very true. So now we're going to move on to our next discussion point, which are the attraction upgrades that seem to be happening at some Six Flags parks. So if you guys are unfamiliar with what I'm talking about, recently there was an event called No Coaster Con held out in the Midwest, and Six Flags Great America did a presentation while they were out there and showcased all the updates that were done to their Batman the Ride coaster. They replaced over 100 speakers, new amplifiers and controls, new audio effect, brought back the original Alfred Ride announcements, added 6 new smoke machines, 167 new LED lighting fixtures, repaired existing and added new water features, new solid-state video playback. They did a lot to this ride. They really gave it a nice refurbishment. For how many years has it been around now? Since 1992?
Yeah, something like that.
So it's been around for a while, and it's really good to see these upgrades being made. So that kind of begs the question, maybe are we going to see them happen at other Six Flags parks? So let's talk Great Adventure specifically. Austin, what ride do you think could be next to get something like this if it winds up happening?
I think it would probably be a toss-up between Skull Mountain, if they don't, remove it, or our Batman, because I feel like our Batman is probably in the same state that Great America's was in before they did all these enhancements, and there's definitely a lot of work that needs to be done to our Batman. I know we just saw a couple of years ago that we got a brand new paint job, which is a nice start, but there's a lot of stuff that they need to work on in the queue line, especially like a lot of the walls are very rusty and cracked, and there's no air conditioning in there, and it gets very hot in there during the summer. And I know there was also at one point water effects within the queue line. There's a bunch of things that they've taken out of that ride, theming wise. So yeah, my money would be on either Skull Mountain getting its effects back or Batman.
Tom, what do you think?
I do like how this kind of lays the groundwork for other Batman rides to get their X restored. Adventure used to have a great queue line for their Batman, and it's kind of gone by the wayside over the years with like the junkyard theming and like the CD underground. Like you're going to the Batcave, so I hope that comes back. And sticking in Batman theme, I would really love it if they would restore all of the effects to Dark Knight. It would certainly do a lot. It would do a ton for the ride, because I remember you used to have the billboards. You had the horn at the end. Just recently, they got rid, or maybe they just need to change the lights, but the black light tunnel has stopped working. So I think that ride could definitely use some love. But agreed, it's our Batman invert and then our two indoor coasters that need the most love on the theming front, I think.
Ken, what about you? Which one would you do it to?
I would say Dark Knight. Dark Knight is half the stuff doesn't work in there anymore, and it never actually got all the effects it was supposed to get at the beginning. So it would be nice if they put it back the way it was supposed to be. And I would also say Justice League.
Yes.
I forgot about Justice League.
Justice League is less the effects. Well, I mean, some of the effects have definitely gone by the wayside over the years, but it just needs a really heavy refurbishment in the ride system aspect, because the way the screens are calibrated with the blasters is brutal. Another ride some people would maybe not expect, I would like to see an overhaul of Nitro. Specifically, I always thought it would be a good idea to make the queue fully indoor. I mean, it's not a very wide queue setup as it is, so just putting a roof over it and adding some theming inside probably wouldn't be that difficult. And honestly, that queue is by far the worst looking one in the park. Just the way you kind of go behind buildings and then into the backstage area. I would love to see Nitro along with the repaint kind of get some work in the queue. I think that would be awesome.
Here's some ideas to throw at you for that one. What if we kept the part where the canopy is open, but when you go down that single pathway to like down towards the station, you enclose that, and then you have like an exhibit. You know how Orion has like that space exhibit in their queue line?
Yep.
The switchbacks before the stairs, you do something like that. I think that would be really cool.
And something else that I see people mentioning in the chat is that Great America also announced that Wrath of Rakshasa, which is their new for 2025 dive coaster, is not going to require lockers. Instead, it's going to use the moving conveyor belt system like Yukon Striker has. For those of you who don't know how it works, you put your stuff in this bin, and that bin travels around the station and goes on like its whole own ride. And then by the time your train gets back to the station, it's right there waiting for you, so that there's no real opportunity for anyone to steal your stuff. It's all in the air. You can't access it until you get back, which I think would be really, really cool to see on other rides as well. I do like the double-sided lockers, but they are a bit of a hassle. The only concern I have with this is it could slow down operations, but if I remember correctly, they have you put all your stuff in before you actually get through the gates, which just makes operations incredibly fast. So this is going to be a really, really nice thing to see. What was that, Ken?
It works really good.
It does. When I was watching it at Yukon Striker, I mean, I didn't have anything to put in it, but it was great to just walk right in, sit down. You didn't have to go to the side and put your stuff in a bin. It just happened immediately. It was really, really awesome. So now we have two things from Magic Mountain to talk about. The first of which is going to be their 2026 coaster. So this kind of happened probably like a couple weeks ago, if I remember correctly. We just haven't gotten the chance to talk about it on the channel yet. So this right here probably doesn't mean much to most people, but this is the layout for their new coaster, which is going to be a Vekoma suspended motorbike coaster. It's a very strange model. It's a prototype. It's the first of its kind. So essentially, imagine Tron. If you guys have been to Disney World, imagine Tron with the motorbike setup, except instead of being on top of the track, you're under the track. That's essentially how this ride system is going to work. This layout looks more of a family coaster to me than a thrill coaster, which I think is a little bit disappointing. Magic Mountain definitely could use some family coasters, but they're really hyping this thing up. And I do think it's a little bit of a letdown to see it just be a family coaster, but it's kind of hard to figure out exactly how this layout is going to work. I'm assuming the station is somewhere right here. Looks like this is the station right here, actually. There's the queue. I'm assuming you're going to launch either this way or that way. I can't really tell which way the layout goes. It is a multi-launch coaster. So Austin, what do you think about this for Magic Mountain?
I'm a little concerned, to be honest, because this is a prototype coaster, so we don't really know what to expect with this way this thing is going to be reliable. Magic Mountain hasn't necessarily had a good track record with keeping up on their ride maintenance. You know, there are a lot of people in the past couple of years that have complained about like half the coasters being closed when they go to the park. So like I'm genuinely worried about whether or not they're going to be able to keep up on maintenance for this. I mean, obviously they're going to have it up and running for the first couple of years it opens because they've been doing that with Wonder Woman. But I am really hoping that with the merger, the standards of upkeep on the rides is going to go up to the point that Cedar Fair sees it. So hopefully this opens the door for better maintenance at Magic Mountain since this is a prototype.
Tom, what do you think about this thing?
Well, I'm sure someone will know, but I don't know. The last time that Magic Mountain has had a prototype, I don't know if anyone has that info readily available, or I can't really even think of anything either off the top of my head. But I mean,
X2.
Would it have been X2? I guess so. I mean, either way, it's kind of nice that they're getting something original, not like a bigger, better version of something that exists somewhere else for once. That really seems, particularly with Great Adventures stuff, it's like, oh, we get our thing, it's a record breaker, whatever, and then Magic Mountain has to like have it turn out at the station.
Hey, we did that once to them with Zumanjaro.
You know what? Yeah, we got ours. I guess that's like a net zero now, but
even though they're blowing that up,
right? But I mean, it'll be interesting. Again, it's just one more coaster in a park where you go and you tend to see a huge chunk of them close. So I just hope they can staff the thing. But it looks like it'll be fun.
Yeah.
And Ken, what do you think about this Vekoma motorbike?
I'm just worried we're getting too many family coasters put in these years. You know, Magic Mountain's known for their thrill rides, and I just don't think this is going to fit the bill as to what they have had historically. So, because, you know, this is probably, this going in, something else is going to get removed.
Oh, there's going to be quite a bit that gets removed. And while we're on the subject, I guess I might as well list off the coasters I see not being long for this world at Magic Mountain. I would keep your eye, well, Superman, I don't think that's ever going to reopen. And this, ironically, goes right up against Superman. but I don't see Superman reopening ever again. Keep your eye on Viper and X2. I think those are going to be the next two that get axed. They definitely fit the bill for what New Six Flags has been trying to get rid of from their parks. So go ride them as soon as you possibly can before it's potentially too late. That's not me saying they're getting removed for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if those are next.
I also want to throw Ninja in there.
Yes, Ninja as well.
Definitely a big one. I've heard Ninja has been hardly open the past couple of years. They've been having a lot of issues with it. So
Wasn't open for
It was
us.
closed for Tom and I. We did not get on it.
Nope.
yeah,
But-
I've heard the past couple of seasons spent more time closed than open. So definitely keep an eye on Ninja.
I'm sure there'll be an announcement.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So that segues into our final little discussion bit before we get into the Q&A. Magic Mountain's rebrand. Now, this is something that's really exciting, not necessarily just for Magic Mountain, but also for what it means for our park, Great Adventure. So, Magic Mountain, for those of you unaware, has had forever now. They have this big sign out front, right on the road. It said Six Flags California for a very long time. Magic Mountain, Hurricane Harbor. So they started redoing it, and people were starting to notice that there's a bit of a different pattern going on. And this is very similar to the way the sign originally was back when the park first opened in 1972. Right? Yeah, 72. And I think this is a pretty clear indicator that they're not sticking with the Six Flags name at this property. I mean, you think they would slap Six Flags right on top of that, but no. They're not even using the new style of Six Flags branding that Cedar Fair has with all their parks. This is their classic logo. This is the original one they opened with. So seeing this has me really hopeful that Great Adventure not only is going to drop the Six Flags name and just go back to Great Adventure, but that it's also going to get a classic logo. So that kind of leads me to a question for you guys. If we had to pick from one of the classic logos of Great Adventure, which one would you like to see be used for the park's branding? We'll start with Ken.
Which logo? I'm a fan of the 80s logo. With
The rainbow one?
The rainbow one. That was the Great Adventure sign that I grew up with. So
It is very iconic. Tom, which one would you pick?
So I would say go for originality. So, and it's too bad I almost wore this hat. I have a trucker hat from what I assume is like the mid 70s, like when the park opened, of like the original font. Does anyone else know what I'm talking about? Like the precursor logo.
I think I have it hanging right in front of me. So yes, I do know what you're talking.
It's basically like the type font of the rainbow logo, but like doesn't have the rainbow. So it'd be like they kind of copy pasted that design over every park. Like I'm pretty sure I have a Six Flags America rainbow logo, and over Georgia rainbow logo. So I'd love to see them do the original pre Six Flags logo for the park. I guess you got to wonder how well did those throwback shirts sell at Great Adventure, because if they sold well enough, I guess maybe that's an indicator that there is some interest. So maybe they go back to that. I don't know.
Austin, what do you think?
I really like the hot air balloon logo, so I think that would probably be the best one.
I feel like that also just invokes the greatest sense of identity with the park too. Like the rainbow one, yes, it is very synonymous with Great Adventure, but it has been used for other parks. The hot air balloon with that classic, like not even cursive, but very curvy, wavy font, that is very synonymous with Great Adventure. So I'd love to see that happen. Plus, seeing that they're doing this with Magic Mountain, where they're not using a Six Flags logo, they're using the park's original logo. I think that's a pretty good sign for Great Adventure. As far as other parks that I could see doing this, definitely Fiesta Texas. That's like almost a surefire yes. There you go. Yes.
That's
a nice
I
logo.
had to go run and get it, which I guess it is the rainbow logo. I didn't notice because it's only got like the red, yellow, and blue, but like that's a pretty clean font there. I think that could be fun.
And
like,
that's very similar to the font they use for the 50th logo as well.
Yeah. So depending on how well that merch sold, I know this is an original from what I assume is the 70s, but maybe depending on the interest, they'll bring it back. Clearly, there's a market for it.
Absolutely. But like I was saying with the other parks, I think definitely Fiesta Texas will probably go back to just Fiesta Texas and drop Six Flags. They never even really had Six Flags attached to the name that much. I remember in the 2010s, it was Fiesta Texas, a Six Flags park, kind of like how La Ronde was that way in Great Escape as well. In the later 2010s and early 2020s, they kind of adopted the Six Flags park name across all the parks. So it seems like they're definitely getting away from that now. I think Great America is another park we could see go back to its original logo. and drop the Six Flags name because, I mean, at the end of the day, when they first opened, it was Marriott's Great America in Illinois and Marriott's Great America in California. Now they're both owned by the same company again, so it doesn't really matter. What other parks do you guys think might drop the Six Flags name?
Escape, I think, drops it again.
Yeah.
I think Discovery Kingdom will too.
Yep.
Because of the animal part, I think they're just going to be Discovery Kingdom, and they're going to really push. I think when they start investing in Discovery Kingdom, I'm sure it's going to be after they close California's Great America. But when they start investing in that, I think the animal part of the park is going to become what is heavily invested in rather than the rides.
I mean, that is their strongest asset right there, and it's their namesake too. So.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, other than those, I don't know, like Six Flags America, I think that's going to stay the way it is or get sold off. And all the 3 original Six Flags parks over Texas, over Georgia, and St. Louis, they'll probably stay the same. I don't really see them changing them because they'd have to come up with a completely new name for them since they've never been anything but Six Flags blank. So going to be very interesting to see how the new company goes about all of this branding because it is very exciting to see Six Flags finally drop the name from so many of their beloved parks. But with all that, it is time to begin the Q&A, unless you guys have any other topics you want to discuss before we begin.
I'm just going to mention that I saw Savannah Sunset for the first time driving down Reed Road, and I was amazed by what I saw. When you see that in person with all the animals around the camp, it's beautiful. It's really beautiful, and nobody's seen it. Nobody's seen it.
There's been very little promotion or marketing for it, which I assume will probably
I'd have to
change
say
this
it's the
year.
best thing they did last year, and nobody's seen it.
I would agree. I mean, when I got to go there, I believe it was in August I went back there. It was so nice. It felt completely different from the rest of the property. So hopefully we'll see that become more prevalent. And it looks like we have our first super chat of the night. Thank you, WSB News, for the super chat. I think the 22nd announcement might be an implosion date confirmation for Kingda Ka, considering there was a photo taken of a CDI list liking said post on Instagram. So that's an interesting point you brought up in the end there. I don't think they're going to announce this, though. They made it very clear that they want to hide the demolition as much as they possibly can. That's why they've been almost radio silent on social media, because all people are commenting about is Kingda Ka. That's all people will talk about. And I mean, think about it from the perspective of whoever's in charge of running the social media. You're not the one who decided to close it, obviously, but you have to face all the fire from everyone who's rightfully upset about it. So they're not going to do anything more to kind of light the fuse than they already have. So I don't see them announcing that at all. They're going to keep it very quiet. Plus, they can't have anyone on property for the implosion anyway. So announcing what day it's going to be is just going to lead to people camping out in a variety of spots, whether they're allowed to be there or not. And it's probably just going to cause a lot more issues than if they just don't talk about anything.
Also, I want to add a point to support what Colin's saying. I don't know if anybody saw the CDI highlight reel for 2024, but it did include the parachute implosion, and they had to re-upload their highlight reel without the implosion footage of parachutes, which tells me that Six Flags told them to take that out of there. So I agree 100% with Colin. I think they're trying to hide as much as they possibly can about any demo. So I don't think we're going to see anything about Ka implosion being announced.
No. And Tom, I'm going to hit that alarm again.
I saw it.
Thank you, Tyler, for the super chat. No text, but I greatly appreciate it. We are going to start off at the very top. Let's see. Where is the first question? Are you going to have another meetup on opening day? Definitely not on opening day. And I say that because opening day is always a major content day where I'm running around trying to get as much content as possible. And hosting a meetup on top of trying to get all that content, it just isn't feasible. I will post when there will be another meetup because it will happen at some point in the 2025 season, but definitely not that early on. Moving on. Would you rather keep Ka but Toro goes, or the situation we're in now where Ka's gone and Toro stays? I'll let you guys answer this one first. Ken, you want to start?
Yeah, I was going to say, let somebody else start.
What would you do?
I want both of them. I want my trifecta.
Yeah.
I'd say keep Toro. Toro's more a ride.
You're being asked. It's like we're being asked though, like to pick between two kids or something
Yep.
like that. There is no clear-cut answer here.
No,
Tom?
but if I had to pick one, I would pick Toro.
I think the path we're on right now is the lesser of two evils, even though none are ideal. None would be ideal.
I mean, both
Toro
and Ka, the ridership kind of was waning just because El Toro was rougher than people like, and I think people were just ride Ka once and that's about it. So
if I were to go based on how I personally feel, I would pick Ka over Toro simply because of the fact that I think Ka has more of a presence in the park, and I think the idea of coming to Great Adventure because it's the world's tallest coaster definitely helped the park in a lot of ways. However, looking at it in a realistic aspect, that record's going to be gone next year when Qiddiya opens. So the realistic scenario is to keep Toro because at the end of the day, everything Ka stood for and had is being taken away from it anyway. But I really would just prefer them to take care of Toro the way they should have been ever since it's opened.
I think that I agree with everyone. Obviously, I mean, you got to keep Toro over Ka. I love Ka, but I mean, you just cannot get rid of Toro. If they got rid of Toro and not Ka and did it the same way that they did, I genuinely don't know how they would be able to recover PR-wise from a situation like that. That would just be such a drastic, like, why are they doing this? I mean, believe me, I was shocked by Ka too, but to get rid of Toro would be nuts, especially because I know the Cedar Fair executives know what that ride can be, what it is, and I'm hopeful that they're going to put the work in and the money in to make it what it used to be back in the early years when it was glass smooth, running faster than ever. Hopefully we'll see that version of Toro come back and the maintenance, of course, continue to be upkept on. But this is a tough situation, but I do have to agree that you got to keep Toro instead of Ka.
I'm going green for the king.
That's perfect.
There you go.
On the topic of Ka, kind of, do you see the announcement that Top Thrill 2 is supposed to be open on opening day?
Yes, I should have talked about that beforehand. Do you guys think it's actually going to happen?
No, absolutely not.
If it'll probably open for like a half hour before something happens, and it's got to be closed for the day. I'll say for the day, maybe the weekend.
Well, they kind of said that the trains went off back to be done.
Yes, they said Zamperla still has the trains right now. They're expecting to get them back within the next few months, and in the next few months they open. So they're definitely running on a bit of a tight schedule. I'm hopeful because I know Ken and I, we both had the opportunity to ride Top Thrill 2 a bunch of times during media day, and I know I speak for him when I say that the ride's amazing, and I really hope more people get to experience it. What I will say is I'm kind of nervous too because they say they're working on the trains. I hope that doesn't mean they're dropping the Heartline or your center of gravity, because the thing that made Top Thrill 2 so good for me was the fact that you were sitting so high up compared to where you were on the original dragster that the laterals going into and out of the top hat were completely different and very violent on the new Top Thrill 2 versus dragster. And I'm hoping that
what they're fixing.
Drop it, it's going to take that away for sure. And I definitely won't like the ride as much. But if that means it'll be open and more people get to ride it, then I think that's a net positive.
Allow me to add an extra point to that. Do you remember the testing footage that came out a couple weeks? Was it a couple weeks ago or last month? There's a recent video of Top Thrill 2 testing with Silver Train, and actually in one of the rows they did drop the seats down. So I think that is something that we can expect to see because I'm pretty sure that it's fairly recent. It's got to have to have been at least the last 2 months.
I did not see that.
Interesting
I have to find it. Let me see if I can find it. If I can find it, I'll send it to you, Colin.
All right, I'll put it on the stream if you get it. Moving on, who's ready for the Flash and the new for 2026 multi-record breaking launch coaster? I mean, we kind of have to be ready for it now, right? That's what we got to look forward to. I think Flash has definitely gotten like a lot of crap, honestly, just because of the fact that people are now looking at it as Ka's replacement, which is crazy because if you think back a year ago today when we were like, oh yeah, this is the filler edition, we're going to get something big, afterwards. This was kind of thrown in last second for the 50th anniversary. And then to be where we're at now is definitely a crazy turn of events. I'm still, like I said, I'm very excited for Flash. A lot of it has changed ever since last year, since Cyborg, well, it's not official yet, but Cyborg is done. It's getting removed. And Flash's Q is more than likely to be routed through Cyborg. So it's going to look different than it was supposed to look. But I do still think it's going to be a fun ride, and it will be open on opening day, which is going to be very exciting. That could be something they're announcing on January 22nd, actually, because as far as I know, it's fully commissioned, ready to go. They just got to finish the queue and entrance, and that's it for
seen
Flash.
riders.
What was that?
I said we've seen riders, so I would hope
we have seen riders, quite a few. So, and for people that have ridden it, I've heard that it's a fun ride. So hopefully it'll be great for us. And then, of course, as for the 2026 coaster, a lot of us have a pretty good idea of what it's going to be. I do have a video that's going to be coming out on that probably in the next week or so, but that should be interesting too. I'm more excited to watch the construction progress of it more than anything. I think that's going to be really cool to see another massive tower go up, and it's probably going to start very soon. If I had to guess, once Ka is fully cleared out, the tower's going up for the new one. So we're going to keep an eye on that as well.
Quick update on the Top Thrill 2 video. I think Cedar Point has asked whoever took that video to take it down because it's gone, like completely wiped from the internet. But the video was taken on December 12th or 14th. I found the tweet, but the post was no longer available. So whoever took it removed it.
Well, that's good to know. Moving on. Let's see. How do you not get bored going to Great Adventure so often? Oh, I do. I most certainly do. But what makes it fun still is getting to hang out with everyone. It's really about the people. Like if I go there alone, I get bored very fast. That's why usually you don't see me there alone very often. I mean, I'll still try to have my fun, but I don't get bored because I'm always making videos, looking for the new stuff going on. And that's definitely what keeps my motivation going, getting to get all the content out for you guys. That definitely keeps my interest high in the park. And once March comes around and we're back in the park, it's definitely going to be high again. Let's see. What are your top 7 RMC coasters? Well, I'm not going to answer that because I plan on ranking the 16 that I've ridden, or 17, whatever it is now, relatively soon. But I will tell you what my favorite one is, and that is Iron Gwazi, for sure.
Agreed.
7 is a oddly specific number, but I like that.
I think we all have the same favorite RMC, though.
Yeah,
I know Ken definitely does. Ken has the kick to go back down to Busch Gardens Tampa already to get more rides in on Gwazi.
Gwazi was amazing.
I do have my top 7 ready to go, actually. It's Gwazi, then Wildcat, then Steve, then Timbers, then Colossus, then Rattler, then Railblazer. I'll throw a single rail in there.
What about Twisted? Oh, that's right. It's only 7. I forgot.
Yes.
Let's see. Six Flags should make some of Kingda Ka track into nano coasters. Well, I don't know if they would make track into nano coasters. I do know they're probably going to look into potentially selling segments of track. We've seen the Cedar Fair parks do this before. They did it with Wicked Twister. They did it with Vortex at Kings Island. They recently did it with Maverick's Heartline Roll. So I would not be surprised at all if we see that happen. Although it is a kind of weird position it would put them in, kind of similar to selling the bricks that have Ka's logo on it, because to a point they are kind of profiting off the fact that they closed the ride the way they did, and then now they're selling more like collectibles for it. I personally don't mind because I love getting the collectibles, and I know that there's nothing they could do about not closing the ride. But I know some people definitely have something to say about that, but we'll have to wait and see.
They're going to be adding other rides to the bricks too, just to let you know.
Yes, there will be quite a few new logos on the bricks. Hopefully we'll see another sale as well, because as far as I know, they went back up to full price at $150.
Oh.
So
Ouch.
hopefully they drop it again, and then maybe I'll get a new one.
Yeah.
Colin, where did you get that shirt from? It's great that you asked that, because Tom is also wearing Long Live the King
hoodie.
merch. That's what it looks like. He's got the hoodie. I got the T-shirt.
It doesn't read well,
Actually,
but this is supposed to be like a forest green. If I you can see on the sleeve if I hold it closer to the screen.
Since you asked, I will put the link in the live chat if I can figure out how to do that. There we go.
I will say the
there
hoodies are
is-
very comfy on the inside. It's like this really soft material, and I can understand why Zach would wear it all the time because no, he does. He wears it all the time.
It is very, very true.
Straight up called Zach out on stream. That's insane.
I think he has like 6 of them.
You know that classic bit in cartoons where someone will, like a character will go into their
Exactly.
closet, like, what am I gonna wear? And it's just like a million
It's
of
all
the
the
same.
exact same.
Yo, Zach's in chat right now. He said it's comfortable, bro.
It is. I'm not shaming him for it. I'm saying
It
that
is
I can
very
understand
comfortable,
why
that
he
I will
would do
say.
it.
But I will let you guys in on a little secret. If you want to save some money on it, there will be a sale. And this is all Spreadshirt that does this. This isn't me that gets to choose it. But from January 22nd to January 27th, there will be a 15% off everything sale. I just checked. So
Everything?
everything. Long live
What
the
a
king.
deal.
Hollywood. All of it. So if you are looking to have some merch in time for opening day, because I see people in the chat saying that we got to all wear it on opening day, I'm planning on it.
Yeah, I think we all have to.
Feel free to stock up whenever it is convenient for you.
But don't get the same color as me, because then I'll feel funny about it. One of us will have to change.
Unfortunately, the color I got for my hoodie seems to be the most popular after I looked through all the ones that were purchased. So I guess I'm gonna be tweeting it a lot.
Wait, when did I quote Cat in the Hat? Someone said I was quoting Cat in the Hat. If I did, it wasn't on purpose, and you caught me. Like, that's bad that I didn't even know.
Antonio, are we just gonna ignore Colin with glasses? I feel like I've worn glasses.
You definitely have.
Right? They're just blue light glasses. It's not that I can't see anything, but I do have to wear the blue light glasses on long streams.
Oh,
like that.
everything. Yes. The cupcakeinator bit.
I have to wear them because I can't see.
See, Ken has the opposite problem with me. Anyone else build Kinects roller coasters? When I was a little kid, I did, but I
had
do
the
not
coolest marble Kinects coaster that like had a speaker that you could plug your MP3 player into, and like it had synchronized lights, but it all like came from this big like speaker box. It was pretty cool.
I honestly wish I had Kinect stuff to build my own layouts and stuff with still, because it would be more fun to do that and consume my time with that than playing video games, to be fair.
Hollywood, how do you think Rapterra at King's Dominion is going to be? I'm pretty excited for Rapterra. I think it has a really promising layout, and of course the launch is going to be great. So I've ridden 3 of the 4 B&M wing coasters that are currently operational in the US. I just haven't ridden X-Flight yet. And my rankings of them tend to be the total opposite of what most people think. My favorite's Wild Eagle, and then Gatekeeper, and then Thunderbird. And Rapterra is technically the most similar to Thunderbird. That doesn't mean I think it's going to be the worst one, because I think Rapterra definitely looks like it has a much stronger layout than Thunderbird. But I am curious to see how it rides, if it's super similar to Thunderbird or maybe feels a little different. Looks like it's got really good pacing, though, and as long as it's smooth, it should be good.
As long as it's smooth.
Yeah, as long as it's smooth. We'll see.
If Cyborg gets torn down, what would replace it? Nothing.
Flash's Q.
A flower bed.
I don't think they would put in, as crazy as it sounds, because that would be a great spot for like an Endeavor or a Nebulous. I do not think they're going to put anything there. Like I said, I think they're going to route Flash's Q through it. And instead of having Flash kind of be crammed down like a little alleyway, they're going to have it expand out more, which is smart. I mean, it's going to be a pretty big ride for the park. It's definitely going to be very popular. And giving people more space to kind of move around and get in would definitely be a lot smarter than just cramming them all into that Flash path.
It's going to be a store.
Gift shop. Yes. Drink stand, maybe.
Well, we do have the 2 spots on the Flash path, one for the snack stand, one for the merch stand. Mm-hmm. We'll see how long those stay, because usually, like,
right, because they have a food stand and a merch store up the street from that location that are hardly ever open. So
this is true. I do apologize if you guys hear that in the background. It sounds like someone's got a snowblower going outside.
I got one too going. So
me too. They finally decided to plow my streets. So.
Which new for 2025 coaster will open first? So let's put this into 2 tiers. The new for 2025 coasters that were supposed to open in 2024, and then the actual new for 2025 coasters. So out of the ones that were supposed to open in 24, Georgia Surfer and Flash will both open in March. I would assume Georgia Surfer will open earlier just because Georgia, their park typically opens like a week earlier than Great Adventure. So I wouldn't be surprised if that opens like a week early compared to Flash, but they will both be open in March, barring any like weird last second delay. As for the other ones, that is going to be the tricky thing. I think Rapterra probably will open first. I mean, it's already getting tested and commissioned. So you compare that to something like Siren's Curse or Oppen Fury, where there's barely any supports or track up. I think that Rapterra will definitely lead the pack there.
Plus, speaking of Siren's Curse, I'm pretty sure it's been confirmed now that it's opening early summer.
Yeah, like around Memorial Day, if I had to guess, probably what they're aiming for.
Yeah, I think I saw a tweet yesterday. It said they confirmed early summer was going to be when that opens. So
other than that, I mean, maybe we'll see the Codaland coasters make a surprise early opening because Circuit Breaker is, I think it's around halfway done track wise, maybe more.
Palindrome's almost
Palindrome's
done completely. Yeah, I think they just need to test that, and it's done.
So hopefully we'll see those open pretty early on. El Toro has had a crane next to it all year. On and off. It's not always there. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But I do know they use a crane to take all the cars out and then move them to their off-season maintenance location. Has a Cyborg demo permit come out yet?
No, you probably won't see one.
I don't know because I know it's being demoed actively right now. So I don't know if they've gotten the. I don't know if they need to. I don't really know. I do know it's being taken apart though. The op booth is gone. The fencing's gone. The seats
It seems like they're taken apart in pieces, so it's not like they're demoing it.
That is true. They could just say they're like performing maintenance on it and then just get rid of it.
Right.
Are you crying about all the coasters closed? I wouldn't say I'm crying.
Not on camera.
I'm definitely upset. No, not on. Definitely not on camera. I'm not like Sammy.
I think that's a rage bait.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
I think he's trying to rage bait. Good
Although,
one. No, you tried.
It is certainly very upsetting for anyone who's had an attachment to any of these rides that all of a sudden closed. Even the ones that aren't liked as much, like Anaconda. There's still a fan of Anaconda out there somewhere who's devastated by it closing. So
I'll be honest, I'm upset about it. I mean, I liked Anaconda. I didn't think it was nearly as rough as everybody said it was, and it was a pretty intense ride. It had a couple of janky transitions, but what aero doesn't? I mean, let's be real.
Viper at Magic Mountain was pretty not janky.
I'm sure it's got a janky. I'm sure it's got a couple somewhere. There's not
Tennessee
a
Tornado is the smoothest of them all, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, by far.
I mean that thing is like a B&M.
I got a Zen ride on that when I went to Dollywood, and that still didn't have like any shaking or any jankiness anywhere. That ride was amazing.
That's sweet. I will say one ride that I am more upset about than most people would be is Nighthawk, because I only ever got to ride it once, and I really liked it on that one ride. But every time after that I went to Carowinds, it was closed. So I
never got to ride it, so R.I.P.
I actually, like Colin, only have one ride on it, and it was all the way back in 2010. So I don't even remember it that well.
Wow. I will say, our friend Chris, he went to Carowinds in October of 2022. Nighthawk was open. It was on one train. And I believe they were with a group of people, and someone in the group decided that the line was too long and that they didn't want to wait for it. And Chris was the only one in the group who did not have the credit yet. And I'm sure he is not happy at that individual now.
We should check in on our friend Chris.
We should. He's probably not too happy about that. But yeah, that's my little story on Nighthawk. Is Kingda Ka really getting yeah, it's really getting or whatever you're trying to say there.
Imploded.
It is getting imploded, yes. Between February 11th and February 16th. That is when the permit is active for. Colin, will you finally visit Six Flags Great America this year to ride Wrath of Rakshasa? That is in the plans. I was waiting for their big coaster to come, and it's finally coming. So I will make my maiden voyage out there at some point this year. They're painting Nitro pink. Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, that'd be pretty funny.
I wouldn't hate that.
Though.
I wouldn't be totally against it.
Are there any like candy pink, light pink coasters that exist? I know there's hot pink, but I don't know about like light pastel pink. Like I don't think
so, actually.
That could be an interesting paint scheme.
I feel like it would fade very easily though.
Yeah, it could get chalky really quick.
It could, yeah. Definitely.
DC Rivals or
DC Rivals is pretty pink. That's more of a bright like
like a hot pink.
I always thought that was purple though.
No, I think it's probably a little more on the pink side now.
Oh, with the fade, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Definitely.
Are you going to go back to the Topgolf place by Great Adventure with the virtual coaster this year? I actually was there. I didn't do it, but I was there. I recently went to Real Topgolf. I didn't film a video there because, quite honestly, I don't know how I would film a video at Real Topgolf. There's just not really much of a narrative to work with there. We were at Adventure Crossing, of course. You had the little bit of a golf segment, and then you had the virtual coaster. Plus, then we went to Prosper Town, so there's a lot to do there. But I don't plan on going back to Top Tracer because, quite honestly, I really don't like Top Tracer very much. I'd much rather go to actual Topgolf, which is closer to me anyway. So. It seems like every Six Flags park is doing some repaint. So hopefully the announcement on the 22nd is about that. But I'm not holding my breath. I wouldn't hold your breath because you might not make it. I don't think they're going to announce a repaint, unfortunately.
It'll be hours.
Is Daredevil Dive definitely being removed? Well, nothing's been made official, but you can always theorize. Personally, just going off the patterns we've seen at the other Six Flags parks, I wouldn't be surprised if we never see it operate again. Whether they demo it this year or it just sits SB&O, I don't think it's going to reopen.
Plus, another point to add to that is what people don't realize about Daredevil Dive and the Slingshot is they're not actually owned by the parks. They're leased rides. So they're not getting all the profit from what they're making off of those rides anyway. So it would probably be in their best interest to get rid of those. No parks own their Sky Coaster, I don't think, except for maybe Fun Spot Kissimmee. But as far as I know, the big chains, they don't actually own their Sky Coasters or Slingshot rides. They're leased by a third company or a third party, and the profits are split by some percentage. So a part of the Project Accelerate is to get rid of rides that are not making the company any money. So if the shoe fits,
prime candidate for removal.
Yeah,
I
wouldn't be surprised if Slingshot's gone in a couple of years either.
Honestly, that go-karts, right stuff, all prime for a big reconstruction right there.
They could put it like a big, like Vekoma family coaster to go over the entrance there too. It'd be sick.
Oh, absolutely.
Like a Big Bear Mountain kind of ride. Oh my god, it would go hard there.
Hey there, I'm a coaster and pinball enthusiast. I've been channel for a while, but I wanted to kind of introduce myself here. But it was nice to meet you. I hope you were enjoying the stream so far.
That's pretty cool. In the last day or so, I've been playing a lot of Nintendo pinball, so that's pretty fun.
I'm going to try and get some POV footage of Cedar Point opening day. That I would not do. They do not allow on-ride filming of any kind at any Six Flags park without permission, so I would not recommend doing that.
Yeah,
you can take video off-ride, but not on-ride.
Yeah, don't get in trouble.
The park's getting a 300-foot dive coaster, so they're getting some love. I presume this is referencing Over Texas, and yeah, that's quite the addition they're getting right there. Honestly surprising that they would give it to Over Texas, but I'm happy for them.
I think it would look good at Over Texas. I think that park really needs something like that.
It needs to stand out, because quite honestly, I don't like New Texas Giant. I think it's just not a very great ride. I like Titan and Mr. Freeze a lot. Shockwave is great too, but none of those are really the standout other than maybe Mr. Freeze, but they need like a top 25 worthy coaster.
Yeah.
Okay. Do y'all think Great Adventure will get something big in 2027? If so, what do you think we'll get?
I'm keeping my mouth shut for this one.
I mean, my dream is to see an Intamin Blitz in the arena, or I guess now in Green Lantern's plot, either or I would love to see, or Vekoma, whatever. But I think that's going to depend a lot on what this company looks like this year, next year, etc. Especially the performance of Great Adventure specifically. Quite honestly, I'm a little nervous about how Great Adventure is going to do in 2025, just because I don't see a lot of people really wanting to go to the park after all the rides that were just removed. It just doesn't really make sense from the mind of, say, someone who's not like looking to ride things over and over again or go on Flash. They don't care about that. When they see that Kingda Ka, Green Lantern, all these rides are closed, they're like, well, I'll just go to Hershey Park or Dorney Park or something. So I think that could definitely come back to hurt them this year, which then would compound into the coming years not having as much investment. Moving on. That would be sad, but Invertigo can leave. I would not be surprised at all if Invertigo and Congo Falls are next to be ripped out of Kings Island. I'm surprised they're still there, honestly. At least I think it's called Congo Falls. It's the shoot to shoot that's right next to Invertigo. Are you guys full-time YouTubers? No, I'm not a full-time YouTuber. I'm a student currently at university, and then during the summer I have other jobs as well. So I do not do this full-time.
Neither do I. I have a union job that I'm still waiting to go back to work for.
Titan will get repainted to Dallas. If they actually retheme it to Dallas Cowboys, that would be absolutely hilarious. I hope they don't, though, because it makes no sense in that area of the park.
Yeah, but
really funny.
Right.
The color scheme matches the logo, so that is not a bad speculation. It's not a bad speculation.
Why are we giving them our paint? That is a great question, Starlit. I don't know. Curious to know if Nitro's repaint is canceled since it was supposed to be done last season and likely this upcoming season. I don't know that I'd say it was canceled. I mean, they did take the paint more than likely and give it to Over Texas. More so that it's on hold just because there's been so much going on at the park. I don't know, though. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, they already started repainting like the station and the fences around it, so there was supposed to be something happening.
There definitely was a plan.
Yeah.
Right.
And they changed the cut of the train.
That's true.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I'm really worried about that ride, which is a shame because it's a major piece of Great Adventure history. Major.
Absolutely not going to be open. I think that ride's donezo.
It's a shame. I mean, I was able to ride it back in 2020. I think I rode it once or twice. I don't remember. And it's a really good ride. Those Aero shuttle loop coasters are awesome. It's a shame that there's pretty much none left in operation now, especially because, again, it was such an integral part of Great Adventure's growth in the late 70s with lightning loops. And that, I believe that was the lower loop that's at Frontier City now. I forget. It's one of the two.
I think so. That sounds right.
Because the upper loop went to, what, Six Flags America?
Yeah.
One of the two.
It went to America.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that one's defunct now, so.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate. You should visit iPlay America in Freehold, a small FEC home to a +1 credit. I have been to iPlay many times, and I have ridden Freedom Rider. I just really have no reason to go back there. Maybe if they got another coaster, I'd go back in there. But until that happens, I don't really have a reason. It's not very far from me either. It's just, I mean, not really my kind of thing.
I'm getting word that it was the lower loop at Frontier City.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it was a little.
Yep. Thank you, Ryan, for that.
And also from No Coaster Con is that Siren's Curse is going to have some theming in the queue and on the tilt track. I mean, I would definitely hope so. It sounds like they have a pretty interesting backstory they're trying to go for there. So hopeful to see some really cool theming with it. Six Flags St. Louis will get the Boss Coaster RMC. I don't know about that.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
I think if we see anything happen to Boss, it's going to get a gravity group retrack. If not, I think Boss might be on its way out at some point. We'll see, though.
I would love to see this, Hurler at Carowinds, and Monster at La Ronde all get RMC'd. But Cedar Fair, they haven't worked with RMC since the first time they worked with them. So we'll see if that winds up happening. What's your favorite place to eat at Great Adventure? That goes to Mama Flora's for sure. Best cheesesteaks out there. Well, in the parks at least.
Oh, I was going to say. You can't say that.
Not out there. Definitely not out there.
For me personally, it's Mama Flora's or Jersey Devil Barbecue for the Jersey Devil Burger. That one's pretty good.
I would say my favorite place to eat right now is probably also Mama Flora's. I have yet to try what is that one by Log Flume?
Best of the West.
Yeah, I have to try that.
I like Best of the West more so for the environment versus the food. The food's good, but it's not as good as other places in the park. But where you get to sit and eat is the best part of it.
And I will say I don't like eating at the park.
Hey, more power to you. You're probably going to outlive me by like 10 years because of that.
I like the special events like that Flavors of the World. They had some really good food, but the average park food is pretty poor.
I thought Tron was comfortable. I mean, I also think Tron is very comfortable. I don't know how I feel about that ride system for Magic Mountain specifically. I just think it's an odd choice. Colin, I have a question. Is the low taper fade meme still massive? Sure, Dylan. Compared to Hollywood Drift, this doesn't stack up that much. Yeah, that is true. I mean, Universal is going to be debuting Hollywood Drift in 2026, and then Magic Mountain has that. So not really sure how that's really going to compare. I definitely think Hollywood Drift is going to be massive for Universal Hollywood, so we'll see what happens. Do you think Dorney will ever get a shuttle coaster, since that's what they were planning before they came up with Iron Menace? Well, Iron Menace replaced that plan because that shuttle coaster would have involved the removal of Possessed. Park officials really did not want to get rid of Possessed, so they came up with a new plan, and that's how we got Iron Menace. I mean, maybe down the line they'll get a shuttle coaster. There's not really one I can think of
They can buy
Unless they
one.
want to buy Switchback from ZDTs and plop
Yeah.
it there.
I don't think so. I think if the most likely candidate for Switchback, and call me crazy, I can see Knobles buying that.
I think I think everyone would agree
see that.
almost unanimously that is a Knobles
Knobles or
coded
Gene
move.
Staples, one of the two.
Yeah, I think Knobles would hop on all that.
They should totally buy that.
That would be awesome. It was a fun ride. I would hate to see it just not go anywhere.
It would be the first ride that I could have ridden in 2 locations.
Yeah.
Unless I want to go down to Maryland and ride Jenkinson's Flitzer at wherever that is. I know it's somewhere in Maryland.
Why will Kings Island remove Invertigo, Drop Tower, Bat, Extreme Skyflyer, and Congo Falls? That's quite the list of rides you just put out there. Nothing's been confirmed. It's just rumors right now.
Well,
Out of those, I definitely think Extreme Skyflyer, Congo Falls, and Invertigo are at the greatest risk, but don't count Bat or Drop Tower out either.
I don't know.
I really hope they don't get rid of Drop Tower because that's an awesome drop tower.
They just removed Carowinds drop tower, so I mean, I don't know.
I don't know why either. That just seems like a weird choice to me.
Extreme Skyflyer out of that whole list, and maybe Congo Falls, I think, are definitely the most likely. But
Oh, yeah, Extreme Skyflyer, that's like 100% for sure.
yeah, the Bat, I've been hearing a lot of stuff about the Bat, so I'm actually becoming a little bit more concerned about it.
Me too, and I liked the Bat.
I'm hearing end of 25 Bat is possibly done, so
I could
hopefully
see
that's not true. Hopefully it's not true because I do enjoy the Bat, but we'll see.
I have a theory, the RMC remake of Son of Beast. I think we're past the possibility of that happening at this point, unfortunately. What Six Flags parks would make for a good theme park trips, multiple parks possibly, early this year with new coasters going up in some?
That's
It depends on what area of the country you want. You have Kings Dominion opening Rapterra. That'll be open early. Same with Flash and Georgia Surfer. Hershey will have Twizzlers Twisted Gravity. It's probably not going to open till like Memorial Day, if I had to guess. Other than that, Siren's Curse is not going to open till like Memorial Day. Wrath probably not too far off from that, maybe a little earlier.
So plan your trip for like midsummer.
I think you're better off waiting till like June, maybe early July. That's when you're going to find the most coasters open. But if it has to be early this year, I mean, Great Adventure, Kings Dominion, I don't know if Big Bad Wolf will be open yet. That's definitely a little further behind than Rapterra. That'll probably open after. So you might miss Big Bad Wolf, but you got BTW. Carowinds, they're getting Snoopy. I don't know when that's going to open. So, play that one by ear. Georgia Surfer should be open, though. Nothing new in Florida other than Epic. So there's some options. It also depends on what area of the country you want. If you want to send another message and be more specific on what region, I could help you out a little more. What will Kingda Ka's replacement be? A spinning coaster.
Big
Moving
tall
on.
one.
A very tall one.
Tall launched one.
That might also go forwards and backwards.
And will launch upside down, which is really cool.
And will make a
That is
lot of
pretty cool.
enthusiasts angry.
Yeah.
Superman is not getting removed. SNS is supposed to be modifying it like Top Thrill 2. Funny story with all that. So SNS on their Instagram had done like a fun facts thing or trivia, whatever it was. And they accidentally said that Superman was made by them and not Intamin, the one at Magic Mountain. So when you put in to ChatGPT, list off facts about SNS, it says that Superman is made by SNS when it's most certainly not. So that kind of sparked a whole crazy thing of people thinking SNS was going to do something to Superman. They're not. They're not. They already confirmed that. It's not happening.
Yep.
Just a little mistake.
Superman is donezo. I don't think that's ever reopening.
No,
again.
that will never reopen, if I had to guess.
They've already started, I would say, kind of demoing it because all the LSMs have been removed from the launch tracks. They're in crates on in the parking lot next to Scream. There's pictures of it if you want to go look for them on Twitter.
Time Warp at Canada's Wonderland will get removed. I really hope it does.
I think it is because if you look at the state that it's in right now, it like snowed pretty heavy at Canada's Wonderland and it has not been touched since closing day. Like the trains are still in the station and everything.
That would be one ride that I would be very happy to see get removed because I rode the first one of these Valairs for myself in Coney Island back in 2021. Did not like it at all, and that one's typically much higher regarded than the one at Wonderland. then this summer when I went to Wonderland and rode Time Warp, I needed to take a breather after that. It was not pleasant.
I didn't hate Time Warp, but it's definitely bottom 3 at Canada's Wonderland. The ride I hated the most there was Mindbuster by far.
Really? I actually liked Mindbuster.
Mindbuster did absolutely nothing for me. It was the roughest thing I've ever been on, and the Helix was terrible. I don't ever want to ride that again. Unless
where did you ride it, if you remember?
Like towards the front, but not in the front row. Like it was like the 3rd or 4th row, I think.
So I rode in second to back because it's a non-wheeled seat. And, I mean, you could feel it was definitely not the smoothest thing in the world, but it still had some little pops of airtime here and there. And I thought it was a pretty good layout. It wasn't that rough, but I guess it definitely depends on where you sit.
Rob is saying Superman is gone, but Lex Luthor is staying. I mean, honestly, I could see that. They just get rid of the track from Superman and just keep the tower there for Lex Luthor. They could definitely do that.
I would love to ride Lex Luthor one day. That would be
nice.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, Dreamworld in Australia, they did that with Tower of Terror too, because they put a drop tower on that just like Superman, and now it's just the drop tower left because they got rid of Tower of Terror. So, frankly, I like how Cedar Fair is rebranding Six Flags parks to their original names. It gives each park its own character, like it was before Six Flags bought these parks out.
Agreed.
Could not agree more.
Yup.
Which coaster should I ride first when I go to King's Dominion and Busch Gardens? King's Dominion, you're going to want to pick one that's not very high in capacity, and that would probably be Tumbili.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
If you're going to rope drop anything in King's Dominion, it's either Tumbili or Flight of Fear, because Flight of Fear gets a massive line.
Or Apple Zapple, because that can also get a line.
Yeah.
As for Busch, I mean, the way
Dark
they do
Coaster.
their opening, Dark Coaster, yes, for sure. But what typically happens is they open the park in stages around the circle. So you're not really going to get much of a choice with where you go. But if you do get a choice, hit Dark Coaster as soon as possible because the capacity on that is not good. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's a similar story for Big Bad Wolf next year too, or this year now. Especially because it's brand new. Let's see. I wish Cedar Fair will stop investing so much in Cedar Point. It's basically in the middle of nowhere, but it gets a big investment every couple of years. It gets a big investment every couple of years because it's an absolute money machine.
Yes.
That park makes so much money. It is a massive resort. Yes, it's in the middle of nowhere, but it's a resort destination.
Exactly.
It's the roller coaster capital of the world.
People literally fly from all over the world to go there, and they have a massive hotel on property at Hotel Breakers. Massive resort. There's a beach right there. There's so much to do around Cedar Point. Like, that park is literally a gold mine. And it might not think it because it's on a peninsula in a random town in Ohio, but trust me, it is a gold mine.
If they were to stop investing and not put anything into it, it would drop in attendance, and they would regret it. That's why they keep doing this.
Agree.
And honestly, I see Great Adventure becoming something very similar where, because we've seen it in the past, when they stop investing, the attendance just drops. These are parks that you need to constantly invest in to keep doing well. And Great Adventure eventually will get back to that point, hopefully.
I personally think Great Adventure is going to get invested into to be on the same level as Cedar Point. We have already seen the addition of Savannah Sunset, which is pretty much going to be Great Adventure's like quote unquote resort. I'm sure there's going to be a hotel built on the property eventually at some point. And on top of that, the park's going to get a lot of investment. So I think that's something we can look forward to.
Something else to look forward to. What new 2025 coaster outside of Flash are you most looking forward to? There's two that top the list for me, and that's going to be Stardust Racers at Epic Universe and Alpine Fury at Canada's Wonderland.
Yeah, I would say those are probably top two for me too. If I can get to either park this year, we'll see.
Same here.
Tom?
I'm trying to think of what's most likely for me to get to.
Siren's Curse.
Well, yeah. Seeing as I'm only 5 hours away. Siren's Curse, and then, Top Thrill 2 as well.
I guess that does count for you guys.
Does that technically count? I guess so for me, in my case.
To me, it's a new for 2024 coaster because I rode it in 2024. But most people didn't. So, I don't know. Hey, I will ride that wave till the day I die. That's a big flex for me right there.
You won't ride Top Thrill 2 at currently, though.
No.
No one.
No, I won't.
I say Alpine Fury.
Alpine Fury, I think, is going to surprise a lot of people. That ride looks amazing. Thinking about other coasters, I think obviously the two tilts, Siren's Curse and Circuit Breaker, definitely high on the list. See, I would say something else at Epic, but honestly, the other coasters there don't look like mine. I think How to Train Your Dragon or Hiccup's Wing Gliders, that's what it's called. That could definitely surprise a lot of people. Tom?
Oh, do I have the... Yes. Here we go.
Thank you, John, for the super chat. Hope all is well with you guys. Same to you, John. Hopefully we'll see you back at the park once they open for the season.
Yep.
Let me find where we were, if I can remember. I was talking about... It's be very difficult to find where I was.
The last one you had was what 2025 coaster are you most excited for, other than Flash? It was by Coaster Joe.
Okay, that'll help a little bit. While I'm looking, yeah, I think those coasters definitely gonna be big. Epic Universe. I don't know if Donkey Kong is really gonna be anything too crazy. How can I not find this comment? There we go. Donkey Kong. We saw the POV. Well, at least the POV is available to see from the one in Japan. And it doesn't look amazing, honestly. Curse of the Werewolf isn't really going to be anything crazy either. That's just a little mock spinning coaster. As for everything else, Rapterra is definitely going to be really good. I don't know about Best Coaster 2025, but it'll definitely be really good. And this is only talking North America, too. I mean, there's a whole nother world of new coasters overseas, including Falcon's Flight, Iron Rattler. I think those two look phenomenal. And there's so much else opening over there, too.
Yeah, let's not forget the two Max Strikers opening over there. Oh, my God.
That's
Did
insane.
you see the Outer Bank on the one that's going to Fantasiana?
It looks
Holy
nuts.
cow. The airtime you're going to get on that, dude? What?
I can't believe they're already building this many mock strikers like this.
Yeah, there's two. There's one going in at Fantasiana, and I forget where the other one's going.
I think Wiener Prater, right?
Yes.
This is called Wiener Looping.
Yeah.
Let's see. Isn't Cedar Point supposed to have both Top Thrill 2 and Siren's Curse open early this year? That's their plan, and that actually brings up a good question. What will open first this year, Top Thrill 2 or Siren's Curse? What do we think?
It should be Top Thrill 2.
That's what they're planning for.
Should be, but I think it's going to be Siren's Curse.
I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say Top Thrill 2, but I'm not super confident in that as of right now. Siren's Curse, it's just however fast the construction goes, I don't think it's going to have any kind of hiccups getting close to opening.
We'll see.
We shall see.
Moving on. Do you think they'll invest more in Great Adventure Safari Park? I feel like it needs more excitement other than the resort rooms. I mean, there's not really much to do to the safari. It's very self-sustaining. I mean, they're going to invest in base camp for sure, if that's what you mean. I think that's definitely going to get a major investment because as far as I know, that did really well for the park this year, or last year, I should say. And I just see them continuing to do more and more with that for sure.
I mean, I could see them putting like a walkthrough exhibit somewhere in the safari with a special type of animal of some sort. But other than that, I really can't see what else you could do with it. It's always been a drive-through, so.
Definitely true. Let's see. If Toro does get retracked, who do you think will do it? I personally think Toro will get Titan Track. I think it'll be Intamin if anyone does it for sure. Which might sound surprising, but I think they know it makes so much more sense to just work with Intamin. They know their coaster better than anyone else, and putting new prefab track on there would be very, very nice. Do you think people will gather and protest at Kingda Ka's demo? I don't know about
Why would they?
They'll gather to watch it. I don't know about protesting it. And what I will say for those of you who are probably planning to try to watch it, just make sure you're not invading on any business's private property or anything, because they, of course, have every right to kick you off if they want to. So keep that in mind. I know everyone wants to see it. Not everyone's going to be able to see it because it's going to be a very tricky thing to see. Although I will say, if any of you happen to live near the park and can see it from your house, you might as well stay there because that's going to be a phenomenal vantage point. Moving on. Let's see. Six Flags New England should go back to Riverside. It sounds nicer, but likely won't happen because it's been called Six Flags New England. It's a pretty iconic in the area. That's the thing with a lot of these parks, that I think a lot of people don't think about. A lot of people from the younger generation, all these parks Six Flags. That's just what they've always called them, which to me sounds insane because obviously I'm an enthusiast. I've always called Great Adventure Great Adventure. But there's a lot of people that'll call it Six Flags Jackson, Six Flags Vallejo, Six Flags Agawam. So that would definitely throw a lot of people off. I think long term it would be much better. I would love to see Six Flags New England become Riverside again, but I don't see that happening either.
The Six Flags America become Adventure World again.
Yeah, I'd be all for that.
That would be funny.
Or was it Wild World or Adventure World?
It was both at certain points.
Are you going to Six Flags New England this year for Quantum Accelerator? It's definitely in the plans. Very great to see them finally get a new coaster.
Yes, finally.
And it's a launch coaster, which everybody's been begging for.
I honestly think it's going to be a lot better than people are expecting. It looks like a pretty solid layout for one of the straddle coasters.
Yeah, I'm going to be completely honest. I think Dark Coaster is pretty underrated. So
it's a lot of fun. I think they work best when they're super low to the ground and snappy, and that's what both Quantum Accelerator and Dark Coaster look to do.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think Over Georgia is announcing on the 22nd? That's a good question. They are teasing something with their mine train. Maybe a retheme, maybe overhaul, or maybe it's going to be similar to what Great Adventure is doing. We really don't know. Oh, another super chat.
Wow.
Thank you, VR Ryan Smith, for the super chat. If anyone does protest, they would probably be banned. I mean, you can't ban someone for protesting peacefully off of your property. If they were on the property, it's a different story. But if they're on like public property, there's really nothing they can do.
Yeah.
Where were we? We were here. But yeah, it's probably going to be something similar to what Great Adventure is going to announce if I had to guess, but we'll see. I presume this is for Great Adventure in 2026. Is an intimate multi-launch like Pantheon realistic? For the park, yes, but for this particular edition, definitely not. I go into this a little more in a video I recently recorded, but it's just not a ride that's going to be able to live up to what COD did for the park in terms of its presence. Think about it, right? If you build a coaster that's a multi-launch like this, but it's maybe half the height of Ka, it might be the best coaster in the park and way better than Ka was, but it's not going to have the same marketability or the same impact that COD did on the park. So that's why I don't think they're going to do that. Could you see Joker, Medusa, and Justice League? I presume you're talking from the drone. You can see the whole park from up in the air. So yes. We think Great Adventure is getting for 26. We talked about this a little earlier. I want to go to Tampa just to go on Iron Gwazi. I don't blame you.
Do it. Do it.
It's worth the trip.
Yeah, literally, just go do it.
You're doing a day
Gwazi
trip.
is a great ride with terrible ops. BGT has poor operations. They weren't that bad when we were there most recently, but I would agree that typically their operations are miles slower than most other parks. So that's something I would love to see SeaWorld work on.
Especially Sheikra. Sheikra is painful.
Yeah. And Sheikra was running one train when we were there, too.
Yeah, me too. Last time I went, it was awful.
Which was fine because it was dead, but they should have just been pumping the trains out way faster than they were.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone and their mother is going to wear Ka merch on opening day. I definitely think
Probably.
you're right about that one, Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
Antonio,
Probably.
sorry. Oh, my Lord.
I think that's going to be everybody's way of boycotting the park.
Yeah, pretty much. I'll show up with this on in my hoodie.
Me too. Gotta rep the
What are the most
orange shirt.
poorly run park? I'm not really going to go into this one just for the sake of not causing any bad blood between any parks. But there's not really any I can really think of that are absolutely awful. I mean, fairs usually are terrible, but there's some smaller parks that would definitely come to mind. Colin, are you going to Epic Universe in 2025? I certainly would like to. I'm not sure when, but I'm going to try to make it happen at some point. I've never seen Colin wear glasses. I only ever wear them on the streams because that's when I have my my blue light issues. So you're not going to see me wear them at the parks. When do we think new track is going to start showing up? I think it can start as early as spring, honestly. I mean, if I had to guess, the coaster's already manufactured and ready to go. So it's just a matter of time before it starts popping up. Are you going to Roller Coaster Rodeo this year? We'll see. I definitely would like to. It's probably the best coaster enthusiast event I've ever been to. It's really, really well done. Jeffrey Siebert and the whole team there do a great job. So I would highly recommend it.
How would you stack that up against Coasting by the Ocean?
Oh, it's better. It's way better, for sure. Anyone here going to Hollywood Nights?
No.
I am not.
Nope.
I don't think any of us are.
Tickets
even-
sold out for that in literally like 2 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't even attempt to get a ticket. I figured it was a lost cause.
They make
I
it
know
too
Sammy's
hard.
going.
Yeah,
They
Sammy
make it
got
too hard.
lucky,
Sammy will
dude.
be there. Make sure you say hi to him.
Yeah, make sure you all say hi to Sammy if you go to Hollywood Nights. Ooh, this is a good one. If you guys saw one of my recent reels on Instagram, you'll recall this. What song would you all choose as a 7th song to be added to Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind?
Ooh.
Actually, have you guys written it?
No. But I
Okay.
saw this question when it was asked, and I've been mulling it over, so I have my answer ready to go. But if anyone else,
You guys all know the 6 songs that are currently on there. I just wanna make
Yes.
sure. Ken, do you?
No.
I do not. I don't.
Okay.
I only know like 2 of
I
them.
have It's September by Earth, Wind, and Fire, One Way or Another by Blondie, Everyone Wants to Rule the World by Tears for Fears, Conga by Miami Sound Machine, I Ran So Far Away by Flock of Seagulls, and Disco Inferno by The Tramps.
So my 7th song pick, I'll get to your super chat in just a second. My 7th song pick would be San Francisco by the Mowglis because that is from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And I feel like they don't have anything from that movie. And I think it'd be nice to kind of show off all the different movie soundtracks. And that
Well,
would be
none of these were in the movie soundtracks, if I'm remembering
September
correctly.
was.
That's right. It was in the third one.
Hmm.
But my pick in keeping with the theme of these songs would be "Beat It" by Michael Jackson. Just to stay in that era, in that sort of genre.
Ken,
So-
Austin?
I really cannot comment on this because I don't know much about the Guardians or how to fit anything. So
I've
Basically-
been paying attention because I don't want to have it ruined for me before I go ride it. So
Oh, whoops! Sorry, spoiled.
Well,
spoilered Ken.
You don't know which song you're going to get. So
that's true. It is randomized.
It is completely random.
I have 1 out of 6 choice right now.
Yeah.
You asked me an 80 song to put on there?
That's
Like
pretty much what
70s,
Guardians is.
70s,
Guardians
80s.
A675309, Jenny.
That would be
Ooh,
a
that's a
really
good
good.
one.
That's a good choice.
I would also like to see Hooked on a Feeling. I think that would be pretty cool. But it's got to be a song that's very fast paced and like can sync up with the ride very well, which makes it difficult.
I see Zach suggesting you just go out of left field and pick something that is an obvious not fit with the rest of the group. I kind of like that chaos.
I'll do Master Puppets by Metallica. There we go.
No, it's got to be Everlong.
Yeah. Oh, Everlong. Yes. I love Everlong. Almost forgot to donate my entire month's savings to Hollywood Studios. Thank you, Zach. As for a 7th song for Guardians of the Galaxy, Time Lapse by the Fat Rat. For those of you that don't know what Time Lapse by the Fat Rat is, that is my outro music. So there you go.
It's a good question, though.
Let's see. Do you think El Diablo is getting relocated to Empty Plot of Land where Harley Quinn used to be? I think they're just going to get rid of El Diablo. They're talking about Over Texas.
Yes, I figured.
I don't see them keeping it. I think they're going to try to get rid of all those super loops or stupid loops.
I almost
I think they're all
almost
going away.
rode the Super Loop at Over Texas. I think it wound up closing as Gabe and I were walking over that way. So, but we wound up going to La Vibora instead. I mean, we were going to get to that eventually, but it wound up being a very good choice.
It was funny. We were filming at Over Texas, and I put El Diablo on the list of rides to hit just in case. And we walked by it. I asked my dad, I was like, Dad, do you really want to do El Diablo? He's like, no. So we just walked right past.
No.
So I have not actually ridden one of the big super loops, but I don't really care for that ride model anyway, so I don't think I'm missing much. Will Kings Island get a Blues Clues themed water park? No.
Those days are gone.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Sadly, I like the Paramount Parks IPs.
Chris seems like a genuinely nice guy. He most certainly is. I will be strapped to Kingda Ka's structure so they won't be able to implode it. That's one way to do it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, gotta do it.
Or they'll just say screw it and blow it up with you on there. They'll be like, oh well.
I'm
gotta
sure
get
they've
those.
already started taking pieces
You gotta get
apart.
the
Wait,
mock-up.
what? Does anyone remember the quote from Monsters Inc. From Mr. Waternoose, where he's like, "Oh, I'll let 1,000 kids die before like something about this company." It's like Richard
Oh,
Zimmerman
yes, I know
would let
exactly what
1,000
you're talking
doozies
about.
die before he lets Kingda Ka stand. Mr.
Do you think
Waternoose.
Cyborg would get moved somewhere else in Movie Town instead of fully removed? No, that's getting fully removed for sure. That ride's a maintenance nightmare. What about green nitro? Oh boy, remember those rumors? Green track, blue supports, retheme it to Goliath. I'm glad that didn't happen. It was supposed to happen, but it did not happen, thankfully. Just like the repaint was supposed to happen, and it didn't happen.
Can we like not have more green coasters at the park? I mean,
Yeah.
It's a lot. Well, we're getting rid of 2 of them now, so
yeah, but
That's true.
Medusa, and Joker are
Joker.
still green,
Yeah.
so we got enough
too
green.
many. And then Ka's replacement might wind up being green too. You never know.
I think it'd be really funny if it kept the color scheme of Ka.
That would be pretty funny. I mean, it would make sense. It would stand in pretty well for Ka.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Johnny says "Rubber Band Man" for the Seventh Guardian song.
that's a
would
good
fit.
one. That's a good one. That's right off the soundtrack too.
Yep, Infinity War.
Do you have plans to go and check out Siren's Curse? Absolutely. Also, do you think this is Ruguru's last year in operation? I don't see why it would be.
No, I don't think Ruguru is going anywhere for a while.
I mean, out of all the coasters at Cedar Point, that's definitely not the first one that'll go. If I had to guess, it'd be Corkscrew or Iron Dragon or Gemini. But out of the newer coasters, I guess you'd say, I think Siren's Curse, Ruguru would definitely be up there. It's about the same age that Lantern was, so
That's
They're
true.
sending Lantern's trains over to Rougarou to make it a stand-up again.
there you go. Back to
Oh,
Mantis.
yeah.
Change it up a little bit.
Dude, this is a hot take. What if Magnum is on its last legs and we just don't know?
Oh, that would
That would be
Oh,
brutal.
Oh,
Magnum's one of my favorites at that park.
Magnum is an arrow, and it's
I
getting pretty
absolutely
old.
love Magnum.
I think they know they can't get rid of Magnum. That's one of those rides that just has to stay.
We'll see.
You should go to Supercharged or even K1 Speed. I did go to Supercharged. I didn't do a race. I went there just to check it out because for whatever reason I never did. I was planning on doing it at some point. Maybe we'll pull it off this offseason. Maybe not. I don't know. I definitely would like to. I just don't know, like from a content perspective either, how that would really perform on this channel because, like, for example, the haunt stuff didn't perform like crazy well. Some of it did well, but not all of it. Not all of it did super well. So we'll see. Hi, do you guys got snow? Yes, quite a bit of it. About
Yes.
3 inches. I hear people doing something out there right now with the snow. Actually,
I'm decently far from y'all. I'm in central PA and probably have say like 4 to 5 inches at least.
Hey, Collywood, I really like your videos. I'm heading to Nickelodeon Universe in New Jersey. What ride should I hit up? Well, there's not many rides open, so you don't really
It's
have
open,
much choice.
yes. Whatever's
Shellraiser and Sandy's are both closed right now. Actually, let me check the latest listing of the rides that are closed. It's always a lot. Definitely say that. There's a reason I haven't been back in a while. Oh, that's the wrong Nickelodeon Universe.
Mr. Ackerman.
American Dream. Let's see. Does it show it? Where are the ride closures? Well, while I'm looking, oh, here we go. Yeah, Shellraiser and Sandy's are both closed. Sandy says it's closed until February 3rd, and Shellraiser says it's closed till March 31st. It'll probably be longer than that for both of them. So
They keep moving it.
they'll just keep bumping it up once it gets to that date. Shellraiser has been closed for over a year. It's insane. Which rides from CGA do you think Six Flags would relocate to other parks? They'll probably try to salvage everything they can. There's a ton of capital in that park.
I don't think Demon goes anywhere.
I don't know that they would move Demon or Grizzly. Those would probably die with the park. Same with Patriot, although you never know. They might try to pull it off somewhere. Railblazer probably get relocated.
If I had to guess, I think Flight Deck is going to Valley Fair, so they finally quenched that inverted coaster rumor that's been around for so long.
I could see it. Everything. Gold Striker has me concerned because we know that relocating a wooden coaster is not the easiest process.
Very
Sometimes you're better off
expensive.
just building a brand new one. So we'll see.
Railblazer might not get relocated because it's welded.
I mean, yes, but we've also seen other coasters in the past that were welded get relocated too.
Who do
We
we
have
think?
which ones?
Well, now you put me on the spot. Lightning Loops.
Lightning Loops was welded. I didn't know that.
All the Aero coasters are, as far as I know, because they're not designed like with computers. They're all kind of shaped and bent on site.
Right. Yeah.
Who do we think gets Lucy's Krabby Patties? That's the big get from that park.
Maybe they'll send it to Michigan's Adventure, plop it right next to their other kiddie coaster.
Yeah. First dueling Zamperla kitty coasters.
Other than that, though, I mean, I don't know. They have a lot of flat rides, too, to salvage. I'm sure
There's
their
some good
Skyway is
flats.
probably going to feed Cedar Point's Skyway, too. How quick will the cleanup of Ka's debris be?
Fast.
Probably pretty quick.
It's gonna be
We
fast.
saw how quick Lantern
Leave
went,
no
so-
evidence.
Yeah, they don't want much of it. I'm sure by opening day, it'll basically be gone.
They have a big vacuum cleaner. Sucker.
They moved so quick to get rid of Lantern and Parachute. Parachute's debris was gone in like 2 weeks. Not even.
The debris cleanup from Ka's removal will be quicker than Flash's construction. We'll say that much.
Yeah.
Do you think Shockwave is going to be replaced by a B&M Giga?
No.
No. Definitely not. Hello, Rob. Do you think they're getting rid of the airplane ride behind Skull Mountain?
Oh.
Something's probably going to happen with Air Safari. It's been sitting there dormant.
I heard a rumor that it's getting moved to Boardwalk.
I
mean,
see
they
that.
gotta put something in that space.
They most certainly do. That is for sure. How did this? Okay. Why did you not already make merch for rides that close besides Kingda Ka? Well, I can't do anything for Green Lantern because that's a DC Comics ride. Zumanjaro is pretty much linked with Kingda Ka. The parachutes Sammy did a poster for. And, I mean, everything else has been closed for a while or kind of unexpected. So, not really a reason to.
Because it's Ka.
Ka's the big one. I mean, I think that's the one everyone's really looking for. What are your thoughts about the name Georgia Gold Rusher Six Flags filed last month? Well, maybe that's what they're changing the name of the mine train to.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
'Cause I believe it's called something with a D. Mine train.
Dahlonega.
That's it.
Yeah.
So maybe they're just going to change the name, make it like Carolina Gold Rusher.
They're all going to be Georgia something. So you'll have the Scorcher, the Surfer, and the Gold Rusher.
Isn't the
And
one
then
at
you used to
Magic
have a
Mountain called Gold Rusher too?
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
All the mine trains are gonna be. We're gonna get New Jersey Gold Rusher.
Jersey Gold Rusher.
Jersey Gold Rusher.
Jersey Gold Rusher. No more Runaway Mine Train.
Let's see.
Yo, I can't lie though. A gold paint job on Runaway Mine Train would slap.
That would look nice.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think Great Adventure should do to gain trust from their fans and the public back besides whatever the 2026 project is? I think transparency goes a long way. The problem is that it's not really what Great Adventure chooses to do and more what the company decides to do. Because I think it's pretty common knowledge at this point now that Ka's removal and all these other rides, that was not Great Adventure's choice. That was the company. That was corporate. So don't be mad at the park. Don't be mad at the officials at the park because they're just doing whatever they can with the cards they're dealt. So it's not really Great Adventure's fault about any of this.
Yep.
True.
So they're not really going to use Green Lantern's plot for this new coaster. Why do you think Cedar Fair is going to take this park to new heights? If they're what?
They're phoning in the replacement.
Oh, got it. I wouldn't say they're phoning in the replacement. They're treating it as exactly that, a replacement. They're replacing Ka, and then down the line they'll replace Lantern. But Ka's replacement, I don't think it's going to go into Lantern's plot. Maybe Twister a little bit if they move the station down there, but otherwise, I don't think it's going to go into Lantern's plot at all.
You want my hot take? I don't think there's going to be any new coaster put on Lantern's plot. I think they're going to recede the park boundary back a little bit and then really work on making the boardwalk a really nice part of the park.
I could see that. I think that long term, they really need to get rid of Superman and the rest of the boardwalk. That way they can fully redevelop that whole area because the way it's structured right now just is not good for long term. It's not going to work.
No, and it doesn't look very nice either.
No. That's the one area of the park that desperately needs the most help. Thoughts on the new Big Bad Wolf trains? They look amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I can pull up a picture real quick because I don't know where I can find one. Actually, I might be able to find it real quick. I think this one Instagram account has it posted. But they look phenomenal. I'm kind of disappointed they weren't on display at IAPA. I think they were supposed to be, and then they weren't. But they look really, really nice here. I found it. Here we go. Thank you, Jameer, for posting it. But here you go. That really cool Zero car, and then everything going back there. I just hope it rides better than Phoenix Rising, because I wasn't really a big fan of Phoenix Rising. Oh, there's Jameer. Thanks for posting this, by the way. Let's see. Colin, is anyone at your school a coaster enthusiast? Like, people there know about your channel? Well, the school I go to is pretty large, so I'm sure there's quite a few people somewhere in the student body that know about my channel.
There's got to be someone.
I would think so. I went to Frontier City twice, 17 years apart, missed it both times. Rest in peace. Very sorry to hear that, Rob.
Yeah, it's a shame.
All right, this is very random. Do you think Hurricane Harbor, Oklahoma City, will get a new record-breaking water slide for 2026 due to all the competition that's popping up in Oklahoma?
No.
Is there a lot of competition popping up in Oklahoma?
There's a brand new theme park getting built there.
Is that Heartland?
Yeah.
I
don't think that's opening until like the late 2020s anyway, so I don't think they're going to be in any rush. Why don't you go back to American Dream? Because none of their rides are open.
Yeah, why would anybody want
I've never been there at all. At first, it was the fact that they only had like, what was it, like an $80 ticket, and I couldn't justify it for 5 coasters. And then they started like not being open as consistently, and that has been what's kept me out of there. It's been like that combination of issues.
Quite frankly, there's never been a point in their history where everything's been open consistently. That's the biggest problem I have.
Go to the water park. It's amazing.
Yes, if you go to American Dream, go to the water park.
I got lucky. My trip there, all 5 coasters were open.
I went twice, and on the second time, all 5 coasters were open.
I got really lucky. That was a random trip. My mom wanted to go to the Meadowlands to watch a race, and I was like, I don't really want to watch the horse race. Let me go to American Dream while you're doing that. And I got lucky. So,
wow, that's rare.
Yeah.
Only thing I didn't get was the drop tower did not go up and spin around. It just went up like halfway.
Oh. I did ride the drop tower in its prime, thankfully. Do you think Shellraiser will be removed? If they were, I don't think it'll get removed because it's so built into that park. They would probably just leave it there, honestly.
I heard a rumor about Shellraiser and its issues. Supposedly the foundations are so bad and badly damaged. That is why they're having issues with it, because of the way they built it into the mall foundations.
It's funny because when my dad and I first went there, the first thing we noticed when we went there was why on earth did they decide to build the foundation of the ride into the foundation of the building? That is one of the just most foolish things I have ever seen.
Yeah, that's certainly a design choice.
Yeah.
It doesn't help that the ride sat in the Meadowlands parking lot for years while American Dream was in construction hell of not getting built. So there's a lot that definitely contributed to this.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll bring a lot of shows like how they had in the 1990s? I think they're going to try to get closer to that, but not immediately. I think their first priority should be replacing all the rides they got rid of. Have you guys done any of the Fun Spot parks in Florida? I've done both. They're fun. They're not Universal or Disney, that's for sure. You got to know what to expect when you go there, which is relatively cheap, fun, quick rides. Kind of like less than Six Flags style.
They're underrated though.
Their rides are fun.
Mind Blower gets a lot of hate, and White Lightning is really good.
Mind Blower isn't bad.
Mind Blower beats the crap out of you.
Mind Blower is good fun.
I guess I rode it when it was brand new. So
probably, yeah. I rode it in 2021, and it tried to kill me.
Colin, you think Mind Blower is bad? Wait till you ride Hades.
Yeah, I know.
I loved that ride, and it tried to destroy me. It was.
Well, I guess that sounds relatively exciting.
Oh my God, dude, it was so good. The underground part is chaotic.
Do you think Switchback will be relocated to Fiesta, Texas, or St. Louis? No. I don't think Six Flags will be buying that coaster.
Nope.
It doesn't fit what they're looking for in their parks.
No. I wonder if the car replacement is going to come from Vekoma. It is not.
It is not.
It will be coming from Mock Rides, more than likely. Again, nothing's confirmed yet, just a prediction, but Mock Rides. be honest, are drop towers falling off? Do you think parks will ever invest in drop towers again? And if so, which ones will they go for? They need something marketable. That's the whole thing. And back in the day, before the internet was a thing, having the same ride everywhere that really didn't have any distinguishing characteristics was fine because, again, nobody knew about them. But now we live in an era where everything's online, and if you build like a little tiny drop tower at a big park, no one's going to care. You have to build the biggest and baddest one, and to do that now is too expensive. So you could be onto something there. Which areas in the park need better theming at Great Adventure? Where do I start? The boardwalk.
Frontier Adventures.
Frontier Adventures, the front half from like Golden Kingdom Adventure Outpost to Mine Train is great.
Yeah, and then you got the arena. Then you got the arena.
The Movie Town theme essentially no longer exists.
Movie Town and Metropolis just need to be merged. That's really
other than for the fact that the Batman is inspired by the Keaton Batman, and then like Dark Knight, obviously, that is the only Movie Town justification you could have.
Here's a hot take for you: Pine Barrens.
Yeah, I agree. The whole Seaport and Pine Barrens area needs to be more cohesive, along with Junior Thrill Seekers and all that.
But Nitro,
that whole side of the park just blends together.
Nitro Pine Barrens.
Yeah, I mean, give Nitro a Pine Barrens theme, dude. I think that would hit pretty good.
And then Roaring Rapids, you can call it like, as I think Tom came up with the name Pine Barrens River Rush.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, what if you like took like where the funnel cake place is and the bar is over there by
Pine
Jersey
Barrels,
Devil?
yes.
Yeah, that repaint that whole plaza and the building Jersey Devil Barbecue is like a nice brown and like a cabin theme, dude.
Yeah.
That area would pop off.
And then they need just more thematic elements as well as more rides back there too. The dead end by Nitro also needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. Spider Waffle said Georgia maybe. This is who was looking for a trip early in the year. Honestly, you can do well. The Florida parks are tricky because Epic won't be open yet, and they're kind of in their like downtime season early in the year. But you could do Georgia, you could do Virginia, Carowinds, and Carolinas. You could make a good trip out of that. Spinning coasters go backwards already if you think about it. That is true. That is true. All right, this is a question for not me. Anyone here watch the NFL? I'm so mad at what happened with the Rams.
I didn't watch it because Rams, the Vikings are out. I don't care anymore as much, and I despise Philly sports largely only almost exclusively because of their fan bases. So I did not watch that game, and then I watched all of 10 minutes of the Ravens game.
That is all Tom right there. I don't care for the NFL.
Yeah, I haven't watched in a while. I'm a Pats fan, and we haven't been very good for a while. So,
someone needs to get rid of the Chiefs, please. Someone do it.
Have you ever been to Cedar Point Shores, and how did it compare to Hurricane Harbor? I have actually been to Cedar Point Shores. It's all right. I'm not really huge on water parks unless they're the best water park out there. So a lot of the ones that are kind of mid-tier don't really do it for me. But Cedar Point Shores is fun. I would just much rather spend my time at the dry park, though. Let's see. What do you think Hershey's next coaster will be? That's a good question. We'll talk about it at a later time. I want Ka's replacement to be an Intamin multi-launch similar to Pantheon or Gotham City Escape. Again, I talked about why I don't think this is a good idea earlier. I would love to see one of these rides come to the park, but not to replace Ka. Let's see. I tried the fried gingerbread men at Great Adventure and honestly was not a big fan. The filling inside was not my favorite. I know you really like them, so I thought I would state my opinion. Yeah, I think all four of us are big fans of those.
Joe.
I like. Hey, I wouldn't classify myself as a big fan, but I could understand not liking them because they're just so aggressively heavy.
They are.
It is one of the heaviest food items I've eaten at all ever. Especially if you get ones that are particularly doughy or liquidy on the inside, totally understandable.
If they're fresh, they're
yes. And I see in the chat, Antonio might be the biggest fan of them by far. He loved those things.
Antonio and I have a meme on my channel. We call it derailed mukbang every time I get those, and it's just because they're so good and they give you so much. Like the portion size is too much for one person.
What do you think the record-breaking launch coaster will be? A mock spinner. That's all I'll say. Let's see. What's next? It would be nice to somehow keep Zumajaro. It was a very good ride. That is probably the worst thing about all of this, that Zumajaro just gets caught in the crossfire and is done. It's very upsetting.
Yeah, it was a good drop tower.
I hope Hershey's next coaster is a Vekoma Thrill launch coaster. That would be awesome. I would love to see one of those there.
Yeah, me too.
Epic Universe Racing Coaster for 2020. Yeah, I think Stardust is going to blow everyone away for sure.
Agree.
Flash is 100% opening this year in March.
On opening day.
It's happening. It is
It's
done.
already finished.
Yeah, Flash done testing, just wrapping up little things.
Also, at 9:52, I'm going to put the line in the chat for no more questions, because I am seeing that I have a lot more to go, and there's more coming. So put your last questions in now, because at 9:52, we will be done with the questions. Where are the cheetahs going near Ka? I thought their enclosure. I would assume long term they'll be in the safari. What they usually do is they'll have the cubs be in those smaller areas like that of what was in the Golden Kingdom, and then as they get older and bigger, they wind up moving out into the safari. So, and it might look like the enclosure is too small for them, but you got to keep in mind that they were raised in that environment as opposed to out in the plains in Africa. So it's a very different environment from a wild cheetah versus one that's in captivity like a Great Adventure.
I also want to mention that enclosure, from the point of view that you can see it from inside the park, looks small, but it's actually a lot bigger than that. It goes around back to where the old Tiger Show Stadium used to be. So there's plenty of room back there for them. Trust me.
You used to
The
be able
park
to walk
takes
through there.
excellent care of the animals. So
yeah, I remember that Golden Kingdom Median Day. We did that walk. It was fun.
And then even for a while too, before they had the Wild Walkway open, like I remember specifically in 2017 and before that, that whole enclosure was open for you to walk through, which was so cool.
Yeah,
and then it ended up connecting with that theater in the back. Do you think Magnum will finally get its TLC? Retrack, reprofiling, it doesn't really need it though, honestly.
I think the only thing that could help that ride is a little bit of track work to maybe smooth it out a little bit, but there's really not much they can do in terms of that anyway. So
that's also part of the charm of it too, with it being such a classic old hyper coaster like that. Like that's what Magnum is for. That's why you have Millennium Force. If you want something super smooth that doesn't do anything, go ride Millennium Force. If Cedar Point changes their name to Six Flags something, it should be Six Flags Roller Coaster City. Cedar Point will never change their name. And they're dropping the Six Flags name from all the six. Well, they're starting to drop the Six Flags name from a lot of the bigger Six Flags parks. So you're not going to see that happen, thankfully. Would you ever think there would be 4 train operations on what? Jersey Devil? I hope it goes back to 4 trains at one point or another, because that is how the ride runs the best. What do you think the 2025 Cups will look like? They're already out. Six Flags Legacy Parks and Cedar Fair Legacy Parks have 2 completely different designs. We saw those at IAPA. So if you want to go back, I forget which IAPA vlog it was, but it's in one of those. I think one of the later IAPA vlogs.
Aren't the Six Flags ones purple?
Yes, they're purple and orange, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
They're purple, and they have the barcodes on them now. So there's going to be a new system implemented this year.
And the cups are actually a little smaller, too.
Of course.
Of course.
I also heard the 15-minute cooldown time is being implemented at the Legacy Six Flags parks. So
it, in fact, is. Do you think they'll bring back freestyle machines? So part of me wants to say yes, because when you go to a lot of the other Cedar Fair parks, there's freestyle machines everywhere. Like one that really comes to mind especially is Wonderland. Wonderland's one of the best designed parks for drink refilling that I've ever seen. I'm sure Austin and Ken, you've been there, right?
Yes.
You guys can definitely attest to this, where they have stations perfectly placed throughout the park where you're never going to walk too far without coming across one of those freestyle locations.
Yeah.
And there's like 3 machines per station. You go up, scan, and do it. And they have really, really just great system for it. So I hope we see that come to Great Adventure. But at the same time, we just saw them get rid of their freestyle machines. So we'll have to wait and
Great
see.
Adventure public can't be trusted to operate a Coke freestyle machine.
They probably
But
couldn't.
but it sounds like I need my passport and I need to go to Canada's Wonderland.
Yeah, work on that and we'll go.
Well-run park.
Let's do it.
Lake Compounds used to have free soda everywhere in the park.
Same with Holiday World.
I think Holiday World still does.
I think you're right. I haven't been there in
And
6
Sunblock.
years now, so I don't know.
I went to Hollywood Nights 22 or 23, and it still had free soda everywhere. So
Last time I went was the last time you didn't have to do all the stuff to get in when it was open for everyone, and it was packed.
21. That was 2021 because I was there for that one too.
It was
And then I got in the next year by writing a heartfelt essay about how my mom had that as a bucket list park, and I wrote about how like Ed was like a big influence on her wanting to ride Voyage and all that. So I got into that too, which it wasn't a BS story. Like it was legit the truth. That was my mom's first time ever going there. So
I actually kind of think that's how they should do it, and limit it
the essay, yeah, I think you should
limit it to two tickets per person.
I think they should definitely have kept it the way they did it in 22, where you have to write in your reasoning why you think you should go. And I also I'm not even going to bring this next point up on the stream because I don't want to cause any issues. I'll be respectful.
It comes to the
What
next
was the
question,
shortest
Rob.
a ride has been at Great Adventure?
Don't forget the line in the chat.
The shortest
Yes,
a ride's
the
been
line's
in-
already out there.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, cool.
The shortest a ride's ever been in a Great Adventure. It might be Spinnaker.
That was only a
Anyone know-
season, right?
That was one season, and it was hardly
I think
ever
there's a few
open.
rides that were only there one season.
Wasn't the Jumbo Jet built and removed? In
Never
the same
built.
season?
You know what? Maybe Jumbo Jet on the grounds that
Because
it
it
was
never
there
opened,
never
right?
opened. Right.
Yeah, it
That's
was built,
correct.
but never opened.
There's pictures of it built.
Yes, it was built.
Well, yes, it was built, but never opened.
It never opened though, so I would count that. I think
Yeah, you know what? Are we
How long
classifying?
was Jumpin' Jack Flash at the park?
A
it
few
was there
years.
for a while.
Oh, it was? Okay.
I think
Yeah.
I think from the War Online season to like 2003. I want to say
Mm,
2002,
No,
2003.
Jumpin' Jack Flash left the year before Ka opened.
Well, now I'm gonna look it up and fact check you live.
I'm just
on
going
the
to
air.
Antique Cars. was a year.
2003. It would appear I was right, Mr. Bond.
The Antique Cars, well, the boats never opened, did they?
I don't know.
The boats were only 1974. But the Antique Cars were only 74 to 75. I'm trying to see what else has a really short. Oh, the Haunted House was only a year.
Yes, the precursor to the Haunted Castle was there one year.
Yes.
I don't know why Spinnaker was like top of mind for me.
Jumpin' Jack Flash was only 4 years. Pirates Flight was only 2 years. That was one of the War on Lines rides.
It's gonna be a lot of those.
Oh, yeah. Spinnaker was only a year, 99 to 2000.
How long was Evolution there?
Evolution
So
was there for a little while.
2003, I think.
It was 99 to 2002.
Two.
Wildflower was 3 years. Time Warp was only 2 years. Swiss Bob 2 was only... Oh, wait, no, never mind. I read that wrong. There's a lot of rides that were barely at Great Adventure.
What about the Twist and Shout? There's one there too, I think.
Is it called Twist and Shout?
No, I forget what it's called. Hold on, I'll look it up.
All right, let me see. Coasters, I think it's just, what's it called? Jumbo Jet.
Yeah, I would definitely put Jumbo Jet on there.
Looks like, where's Jumbo? Yeah, Jumbo Jet was 75 only. Alpen Blitz was only there 2 years. And that's pretty much, and Shockwave was also only there 2 years. Crazy history with Great Adventure. What do you think about the decisions by Six Flags to remove rides without warning and not give the public a chance to get a last ride? I think I've been pretty vocal on the way I feel about that. I'm not really a fan of it. There is a perspective to look at it from, at least like with Kingda Ka, where if they were to announce it, set it for a certain date, and then say you get to that date and Ka's closed all day because of a mechanical issue, then you might even have more issues on your hands than you already do. So I get it to a certain degree, a very limited certain degree, but for the most part, I completely disagree with it.
Oh, never mind. I was talking about the Joust about it. It's been there. It was there in 1982 to 98, so it was there for a while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I've
had a
been
good
there a
run.
while. Renamed like 2 times.
Sky Pilot.
Zumanjaro was a phenomenal ride. That was the best ride in the park that was not a roller coaster, easily.
I think so.
I mean, the only thing that would even come close is, what, Twister, Wonder Woman, Justice League?
Maybe.
And Zumanjaro was always way better than those for me.
It was just a walk back there.
Yeah, that walk. Well, I'll never complain about that walk again now. Ooh, how about red and gray nitro with Ka's replacement being orange and blue? Are you saying Ka's replacement orange and blue because that's the color it is in the survey? Or actually, I think it's red and blue, but close enough. I think Ka's replacement will probably be very similar in color scheme to what Ka was. Red and gray nitro could be interesting, though. That I will say.
I think it would be too close to Intimidator, Carowinds Thunder.
That is true. Now. Have you ever been to Great America? I have not. I know Austin has, and Ken, have you?
No.
No, it's just Austin.
Yeah, I've been there twice now. I went this year, or last year, actually, for a few hours.
Hey, Colin, when are you going to be featured on another Bacon Chris Adventures episode? Thanks for the question, Austin.
You're welcome.
Presumably, whenever he goes back to Great Adventure for the season, I'll probably be in one. Let's see.
I really like that one BCA with Fresno Lake Park.
Oh yeah, that was something.
Yeah.
What if they replaced Magnum with the B&M Giga? It doesn't really make sense for them to do that. If anything, a B&M Hyper would make more sense because they already have Millennium Force.
Hot take, but I think they should never build a B&M Giga ever again.
Really?
Yeah, because so many people beg for them every time there's the idea of a new ride. I can't stand it.
That is
Jeez.
very true.
It's
and honestly, there's only one of them that's really like that good, in my opinion.
This is where me and Colin disagree, but
for me, it's just like Leviathan and Orion are great, but they are not worth what everyone goes through begging for them. Fury's the only one I get with.
See, I rode Fury and Leviathan both last year, and I thought Leviathan blew Fury away. I don't know. Fury didn't do a whole lot for me this year.
Leviathan ended too soon.
Yeah.
Leviathan pulled some forces, though, man. Them forces were nuts. I was not expecting the prototype Giga to have that kind of forces. And the trim doesn't hit on the airtime hill either, so it's just insane.
I feel like some of the elements on Leviathan, though, really just don't do anything, and that's my problem with it.
True. I mean, they got the turnaround. It doesn't do a whole lot, but...
And then that one turn, low to the ground turn, it's so gradual, you don't get any force out of it.
Yeah, I guess.
Although it's still better than Orion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Gold Striker is the roughest coaster in the world.
That's not true.
Absolutely. I haven't ridden Gold Striker, and I can tell you that Mindbuster probably blows that out of the water in roughness.
It probably does.
Wildcat Lake Compounds is still the roughest coaster
I've
ever
ridden. That thing was brutal.
Yeah, that was bad.
Do you think Great Adventure would ever expand the park to connect it with Hurricane Harbor to turn into one unified property? It's just not feasible.
Yeah.
Hurricane Harbor is too far away from the dry park.
Plus, if you think about it, I think they probably make more money having Hurricane Harbor as a separate park.
Absolutely.
Because during the summer, that Hurricane Harbor is slammed during the daytime, and then everybody goes to the dry park after.
What year was it that it was hitting capacity like every day?
It's probably 2019.
Yeah.
I think 21 as well, actually.
Yeah, no, it might have been 21 because it was like semi-recent, and like every day in my Instagram feed, there was a notice that the capacity was full.
Of course. What Six Flags or Cedar Fair Park do you think is going to close next? I could see Six Flags America to a point. None of them really jump out at me, though. If Magic Mountain was a smaller park, I would definitely say Magic Mountain because of the housing going on around it.
I mean, my personal pitch for this question is going to be a hot take considering all the investment they're putting into it right now, but I would say King's Dominion.
Really?
Because King's Dominion's not really in a feasible spot. I mean, it's right off of I-95, but there's been township plans that have leaked prior to, I don't know, I want to say like within the past 5 years, they wanted to completely rezone and redevelop that property. So we'll see.
That's in the middle of the woods. There's plenty of other spots they could do that.
Yeah, but that spot is like perfect for a major like hotel or something.
See, but what's the point of a hotel if there's nothing to do in the area?
True.
There's plenty of other hotels in that area that basically aren't used. So
Yeah. Do you think Six Flags should give boat rides around the lake? That would be cool. I don't know if it'll happen,
Boat
but it'd be cool.
tours.
I mean, I personally really wish they could find a way to use the other side of the lake, not even to expand the park, because I know they can't because it's wetlands, but just some kind of an attraction that takes you around that property, because they own all that and there's nothing they can really do with it. That's why I think it was in 2023, they had the hayride that took you all the way back out there to the Switlick house and then back. Like, that felt like I was going somewhere completely new. It was so cool. And I'd love to see them incorporate that more.
they could have a water ski show. That would be something new.
That would be very nice. I'd love to see them rebuild the Great Lake Grandstand.
That and bring the teepee back and we'll be all happy.
Yep, there you go. You think they can build a hotel where Lantern was?
No.
They could, but it just doesn't make sense to.
Why would you put it that close to the park?
Well, originally they were supposed to put one right next to Ka. That was the plan, which honestly I think would have been great.
I think the best place for a hotel to go would probably be in the back of the park, over like closer to where Adventure Crossing is.
That, or you could have it on like in the park, in between the safari and the park.
True,
but then
yeah.
parking would be an issue.
Yeah.
So there's some interesting things to think about there. Next up, let's see. What's your favorite night ride? Probably Outlaw Run. Personally.
Mine is The Voyage.
I don't know. Maybe Beast.
Beast is
Nitro's
good.
Yeah, great one.
Nitro's a pretty fun one too.
I also yeah, Voyage is definitely top.
Voyage during holiday nights with no lights on, with fireflies zooming by your head. Yeah.
That sounds very special. Although I don't see myself ever going to Hollywood Nights just because of what a hassle it is to get into it. Thank you for all the updates on Flash. Thank you for watching them. I've had a lot of fun making them for the past, year and a half now? Do you think a 400-foot drop while spinning could rival Ka's launch? I have never ridden any of the mock extreme spinners, but people say they're insane, and this would be way larger than those. So this is the way I'm looking at it. That drop on Time Traveler out of the station when you're in the back row is absolutely nuts. Now imagine that 4 times the height, or 4.5 times, whatever it winds up being. That sounds unbelievable to me. So yeah, I do think that the spinning code, it will be way better than people think it's actually going to be. It's always going to get flamed though, because I don't know that it will really live up to Ka. I mean, it's not going to have that same punchy launch. It's not going to have the top hat. It's not going to have all of that. It's not going to have the airtime hill, but it's going to have some really cool stuff. So that's why I'm a little conflicted. And it's hard to explain to people that it's going to be better than most people think, but we'll see. We'll see what people think when it does eventually happen. Moving on. Let's see. So we did talk about Magic Mountain's new coaster earlier. Oh boy. Sticking with BGT, will Falcon's Fury get removed or Kumba?
No.
Just no.
Out of either one of them, it's going to be Kumba first, in my opinion.
Kumba's not getting removed. I don't know why everybody keeps saying that. They started testing it again last week, so there's a lot of work that they're doing on it. From what I've been told, every day after the park closes, they have a whole maintenance crew back there working on it until like the early morning hours. So they're doing a lot to fix it up and make sure that it's operatable.
I still don't think it's that long for this world at this point. Oh, Tom?
Yep.
Super chat. Thank you, F7 Coasters, for the super chat. If Superman was to be rethemed, what should it be? I think it should be called Mach 1 or The Right Stuff or something along those lines. I always thought that whole area should be rethemed to like an Air Force base. You could have kept Lantern and called it Shockwave and given it like a very similar color scheme to what the original Shockwave had. And then Superman could become Mach 1 and do that whole area up as like a Air Force base, kind of themed to McGuire.
That would be cool.
Awesome.
That'd be freaking awesome, yeah.
Especially with all the planes that are constantly flying over Great Adventure, they might as well. But back to Kumba, I do think it's not long for this world, unfortunately. That's just my personal opinion. It was built in, what, 1993?
Yes.
It's been run year-round, constantly, every year. And we saw what they had to do to Hulk. We saw what they had to do to Nemesis, and Nemesis was not even run year-round. So Kumba's time is coming soon, and whether they choose to retrack it or get rid of it, we're going to have to wait and see.
Falcon's Fury, I've heard that if it has one more major incident, it's done for. They're not going to try to fix it again.
No.
They've invested a lot of money into it already.
Which is a shame because that ride's amazing.
It is really cool.
Dude, my reaction to that ride, my jaw was on the ground, dude.
Mine too. I still have to rewatch because I did film my first and only ride on it, and I'm pretty sure my reaction was insane. Like, there's nothing like that.
It's funny, when I first rode it, I didn't like it that much. I thought it was really overrated. But then for whatever reason, this time around, when I rode it in 24, it was mind-blowing how good it was. Just mind-blowing. Do you think we could see jungle theming similar to King's Dominion in the Golden Kingdom and a freshening to Mine Train or Log Flume area similar to Cedar Point? Yes and yes. Although I think the Mine Train Log Flume thing probably wouldn't happen until we wind up getting a new coaster in the arena, and then they'd probably revitalize that whole area. But I definitely think they're going to try to keep the Golden Kingdom theme just because it's so iconic and well known with the park. It's by far the best area of the park that's ever been there, in my opinion. So I don't see why they wouldn't keep it. And they've done a phenomenal job with Jungle Expedition at King's Dominion. So there's no reason for them to not do that at Great Adventure. I don't know about sticking with derailing. My Big Thunder Mountain Railroad at Magic Kingdom will get more tracks removed. So Big Thunder Mountain's getting a crazy refurbishment. They're replacing all of the track, I believe the supports too, and potentially new trains. So that kind of begs the question, does it become a new credit at that point?
No, if it's the same layout, it's still the same ride.
Sure, it's the same layout, but it's essentially a brand new ride.
I don't know. I don't consider Top Thrill 2 a new credit, so...
Okay, so that's where we differ. Top Thrill 2 is 100%
That's absolutely a new credit.
It's a completely different experience with new track as well, new elements. I'm also one that considers the stand-ups, the floorlesses, new credits, which I get is a little controversial, but it's a completely different experience, and that's kind of the way I look at it.
How about the Hulk?
Hulk, I think, was a new credit when they redid it. Nemesis, too. I think that's also a new credit. I mean, it's a little well, no, they did get new trains, so yeah. Plus, think the track is completely new. It was brand new, refabricated from the plant. Like to me, that's a new coaster. What would you be willing to give up to have the paper cup option available at every Six Flags park? I'm not willing to give up anything. They should just give it to us.
In theory, we gave up our metal tumblers to get the paper cup option.
That is true.
That is my sacrifice.
If TikTok were to remain banned, how do you think it would affect the amusement industry marketing to promote a theme park, since we saw many in the industry trying to adapt? I don't think it would have that big of an impact because they would just migrate to the other social platforms like everyone else has, although TikTok's unbanned now, so it doesn't really matter anyways.
Reels and shorts.
Yeah, Reels and Shorts, they're basically the same thing, just on a different app. So I don't think it really would have had that big of an impact.
They'll find a different space to do what they were attempting to do.
If you had a chance to rebuild Drakkenfire, who would you hire to make it? It's going to sound a little interesting. I would just hire B&M to do what they were supposed to do back in the 90s and make Busch Gardens Williamsburg's version of Kumba. That's what it was supposed to be. So
I am literally on the same page. I was gonna say that. You took the words right out of my
Give 'em
mouth.
their
that
Kumba.
might as well. Dude, imagine if that was still there as like a Kumba style ride. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
But if we were doing a modern manufacturer, probably Vekoma. What do you think will happen to the Golden Kingdom? Like I said, I think they're going to keep the Golden Kingdom theme and then just kind of redo it with the new ride that comes in. We are almost at the end. We got a few more left. What are your thoughts on the trend of rides closing down with no warning? It's definitely alarming. I hope it doesn't become common practice. I do appreciate that at least Universal's letting everyone know about Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket.
That's true.
But I think parks are going to learn that they can market these kind of events of a big iconic ride closing to their advantage. Because yes, you're going to kind of get hurt from it in the short term, but you can make it work. That's the way I look at it. That's why I still think not having a big thing for Ka was a huge missed opportunity from a marketing perspective.
Definitely, though, devil's advocate on that one. Back in the day, there was no way to get the word out, so parks would always remove rides without warning. You just show up the next season and be gone. So I mean, I think the way of technology has really changed how we perceive this. I don't think the no warning, the no announcement is really as big of a deal as it should be, because I think the addition of having technology and social media has made that impact more impactful.
I definitely agree with that. Do you think the park can utilize the lake behind the park more? That's what I was saying earlier. I definitely really wish they could do more back there, but it's wetlands and they just cannot build on wetlands. Let's see. Do you think we'll be talking about last year's ride lineup like we talk about 2006 in the future?
No.
It's not. Last year's ride lineup still was not on the level of 2006's ride lineup, in my opinion.
No.
I think we'll be talking about last year, like not in the. We'll be talking about last year.
We'll be talking about last year as being the final year of the park where it was the old Great Adventure.
Right. Like this is the end of. Like
We're entering the new Great
era.
Adventures era now.
Right.
That's kind of the way I look at it.
In the sense that we will talk about it, yes, but how it is talked about, no. Not like 2006.
Absolutely. Next up, are the producers renewing Zach's contract for the Hollywood show in 2025? They're not too sure yet. They got to do some more thinking about that. What do you think they should do with the lakefront/adventure alley? They need to be upgraded in appearance. I think they just need to give it a proper theme. Something Sammy and I actually discussed was retheming that area to Fantasy Forest, I think, right?
That would be sick, dude.
That was one of the original themed areas of the park.
Yeah.
So
it did used to extend down that way, too.
You might as well give it like a proper theme, like make it like fantasy themed, have like all kinds of props that just like make it look really like wacky and like almost like out of a fairy tale. I think that would be awesome. Also, I hope they take down the lettering that says Six Flags from the top of Skyscraper.
Oh, the globe?
Ooh. Yeah.
What is the best drink to have at a park besides water? Powerade. Or if it's Holiday Park, root beer.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was surprised you didn't say root beer.
Root beer.
Although I will say when I'm at parks that are in regions that have it, Pib.
Yes.
Because we don't have it in Jersey usually.
It's a region.
You're going to be in trouble with that 15-minute cool down time if you get bad root beer.
I know. That's not going to be too good.
Yeah.
I hope they fix the bad root beer. Which coasters do you want to see Fiesta Texas get besides a wooden coaster and a hyper coaster? I mean, those are the two I'd like to see them get the most. So,
personally, I think Fiesta Texas would benefit greatly from an extreme spinner, but
that is true. But they do have Pandemonium, so they don't need a spinning coaster right now.
Yes, but
it would be great.
There are things looming around about Pandemonium, so we'll see.
Replace Pandemonium with a better spinner that interacts with the quarry wall a little better.
Yeah.
I would assume they're probably going to get a massive coaster, presumably from Intamin, very soon. That's my best guess.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, from Zach, when do you expect CGA to close its doors?
28.
So, in the contract between, was it Prologix and Cedar Fair.
Yeah, Prologis and Cedar Fair.
Cedar Fair is required to provide a 2-season warning before the park closes forever, which means that if they were to announce it's closing this year, it will close in what, 27?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what we're looking at.
Well, I think them not having their events, their regional or their seasonal events, it's kind of like a precursor to that announcement. So it wouldn't shock me if we get that announcement this year.
I think that what they're going to start doing is taking rides out of the park at the end of this year, and then from there, go ahead and close the park. Get ready to close the park.
Yeah.
And it's a real shame because Tom and I, we had the opportunity to visit it in 2023 in the summer. Beautiful park.
Oh, it was great. Park. Everything was
open.
open.
Not the best Cedar Fair park, but for what it has and its size, it is so nice.
Everything was open. The front entrance was great. For the most part, the operations were pretty solid. I mean, aside from Patriot,
for the 5-minute dispatch on Patriot,
that was brutal. But like that was it.
Yeah, everything else was pretty solid. Railblazers crew was great. Shout out to them. There's so much great about that park. It's a shame to see it go. But with that being said, that concludes the Q&A section of the stream and the stream by extension. So I want to thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed. I always enjoy doing these streams. I'm going to try to keep them as monthly as possible. We'll see what happens with school and everything. But I want to thank all 3 of you guys for joining me on the stream. I'm going to have you guys replug your socials one last time, starting with Austin, going to Tom. So Austin.
I'm Austin from Derailed Coasters, and PSA, I'm 20 subscribers away from 1K, so
get him up there. He's so close.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Ken?
I'm on Social Ken, so I'm just Ken.
Yes. Social Ken.
I do have one comment left to make because I found this out today and I was very upset.
What is that?
No.
Fuji Q, some of the rides have, if you're older than a certain age, you can't ride them.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that Fuji Q also has a training school for some of their rides on how to ride them before you go on them?
What? Oh
yep.
my God.
You have to take a short class before you ride Edgenetka. It's insane.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
So if you want to go on certain rides, go there before you're too old.
And Tom?
You can find me at Tom'sTracks99 on Instagram. Y'all should go like my latest Superman reel because it's like the most polished thing I've put on my channel, or maybe not even polished is the right word. Noteworthy thing. It's like the first on-ride thing I think I've ever posted on there. So go check it out. Go like it. It was pretty
Also,
cool.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it again. Along with the King merch, along with everything Hollywood Studios on the store, it is going to be on sale starting on January 22nd, running for a few days. 15% off everything. So if you haven't stocked up yet before opening day, you might as well. There's going to be a few sales as we get closer to opening day. I'll let you guys all know about them. But that's it for this stream. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Go subscribe to Derailed Coasters. Get up to 1,000 subscribers. And I'll see you all in the next video. Good night, guys.
Goodbye.